just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road. For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Wake up, Lincoln. You're not dreaming. Schaefer Sleep Gallery has closeout mattresses up to 50% off. Hurry in now for the best selection and savings on Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland closeouts. We're talking one-of-a-kinds, floor models, and closeouts up to 50% off. Plus, Schaefer Sleep Gallery has free local delivery on any closeout Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland mattress while they last. So hurry in to save hundreds, plus free local delivery on closeout mattresses in the Sleep Gallery at Schaefer's, 48th and R, Lincoln.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating
and Electrical.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
The wait is over. It's Truck Month at Anderson Ford, which means big selection and even bigger savings on Ford F-150s. Like lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for only $195 per month. The truck that's built to work hard and play hard. Another reason you'll experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1008409. Previous service letter. $195 per month for 36 months, 7,500 miles per year, 8,500 with type. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myInspartners.com.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
This is Nick Wyman with your sports update. The Nebraska women's basketball team takes the floor this evening for the first 4 of the 2026 NCAA women's basketball tournament. The Cornhuskers battle Richmond in Durham, North Carolina, with tip-off set for 6 p.m. Central Time. That game between the Cornhuskers and the Spiders can be seen on ESPN2. Husker baseball collected an 8-1 win over Wichita State on Tuesday, which pushed the Cornhuskers winning streak to 10 games. Case Anderson and Jet Buck combined to drive in 5 runs for the Cornhuskers. After Nebraska wraps up that series with the Shockers today, the Cornhuskers travel to Ann Arbor for a 3-game set against Michigan Wolverines, with Game 1 of that series set for this Friday. Postseason is here for Nebraska wrestling and Husker bowling. The Cornhuskers wrestling team heads to the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Cleveland, Ohio, with the first matches set for Thursday. As for Nebraska bowling, the Huskers are competing at the Conference USA tournament, which began earlier today and wraps up on Sunday. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here at 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour 1 of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is not Austin Orman. He's on the road. He made it. If you saw it, he made it. He made it. He's covering practice and whatnot, but Nick Wyman filling in on short notice, but I'm here with Jay Foreman holding it down here in Lincoln, Nebraska. But Austin made it. Jake Sorensen made it. They left early this morning, but they made it to Oklahoma City as it's March.
They both made it, or just Austin?
They both made it.
All
Austin's been there. Austin's obviously he's been around, all season long for Nebraska and whatnot, but he's been there throughout. So he made the trip down and was able to shoot around and practice and whatnot, get a couple interviews with some of the players and whatnot, and get the vibes, shoot around. I mean, it's a neutral site, so he gets to get figured out where everything is and whatnot. I don't know how many times he's been to Oklahoma City, but hey, he's figuring it out and whatnot. And less than 24 hours till tip-off. March Madness Eve is what we kind of are calling it around here so far, as the tournament is getting underway tomorrow. Play-in games. There were some good games last night. I don't know did you catch any of those, Jay, last night? There was pretty good.
The Howard game, was a pretty exciting game. Howard was winning the whole time, and then obviously it came down to that last possession. It was a little discrepancy whether the ball was in and versus when Howard was able to call a timeout because they were trying to come back and or go down and hit a quick three. But Howard, obviously it's a big deal for them. So
first win in the tournament,
right? So hey, maybe that's a good omen for Nebraska. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want it to come down between us and Troy to the last 3 seconds or last 3-point shot in 7.5 seconds. But we'll take a win any way we can get it. And then the Texas game was interesting because Texas jumped out to a pretty sizable lead, and then North Carolina State came back and it was like North Carolina State looked kind of junky, at the beginning of the game, so it junked up the game. And then Texas was able to hit that, last little, mid-range jumper. It was a pretty exciting game.
Texas was in control. They just couldn't break that press down the stretch, and then NC State makes some big-time shots, and it comes down. Mark leaves his mark on March.
Yeah,
essentially there down the stretch.
North Carolina State in the second half hit the shots that they definitely weren't hitting in the beginning. The beginning quarter of the game. Or half of the first half of the first half. So, I'm not a Texas fan, but I do like Sean Miller, the coach. Remember watching him when he played at Pittsburgh. I think that's where he was at. Liked him when he was at Xavier and all that stuff. And obviously in Arizona, he had a little mishap with the phone calls and I think it was that DeAndre Ayton.
Yes,
I think.
Yes, when Arizona and whatnot.
Now look at DeAndre Ayton, man. If that's the dude that you essentially got canned by, it's like, it's probably not worth it. But he obviously went number one. But anyway, it was good games, a good start to the the big tournament. A little bit of rest today, and then obviously all eyes are down there on Nebraska, and you see what Nebraska does.
A little nervous going into this one. I mean, in Nebraska, obviously, there's no secret that hey, they haven't won an NCAA tournament game in history. They've been close, a couple of years ago against Texas A&M. History not on their side. They've been 0-8 all time, and then Troy on the other side. They've been in the tournament recently. They have a veteran group. They were in the tournament last year and played Kentucky. Wasn't close in that game as well. They lost to Xavier years before that as well. But yeah, something's got to give between these two teams. I mean, Nebraska, obviously, I think they just have to play their game. Nebraska just has to be Nebraska. However, March Madness, you kind of throw the records out the book. You throw the conferences away. You throw whatever, 5-on-5. That's just what makes the magic of March so special because you never know 13, 14, 15, and sometimes in recent it was 16 seed.
Yeah,
exactly.
16. Yeah, that which was never thought that would ever happen. And obviously Virginia, they fell on the sword for 1 year and then won it the next. So it's but sometimes you don't have 2 years. I think for Nebraska, the confidence is just kind of like just waiting for it to happen and get over with. Meaning, I don't really see there's a viable way that the Nebraska loses. Obviously they come out there and are sloppy with the ball and can't hit the normal shots that they even hit on an average game. Then they'll be in some trouble. Now look, Troy's going to compete. They got athletes.
Yes.
They got a veteran kind of crew. So they're not looking at Nebraska as like they're not facing Nebraska and feeling scared. You know what I mean? So it's not a game that Nebraska can kind of sleepwalk through. This is a game that, if I'm Nebraska, I'm trying to, if I feel like as a team that we should have been a number 3 seed or potentially number 2 seed, and we lost to one of the hottest teams playing right now in Purdue, and so we got the shaft because of our history, then I'm trying to prove a point against Troy.
Yeah.
We're favored by 13 points, then we're going to beat them by, 15 or 18 points.
Make a statement.
And if we're up by, and I'm not a bettor, but I'm just saying, if you're up by 14 points, if they, put guys in at the last minute, you guys aren't losing this lead. You're expanding the lead. We're not holding this basketball. You know what I'm saying? This is a game where it could help you in the second game, right? You really can. By no means do I think Nebraska's an intimidating team, but you can strike some fear when you come out and you're efficient offensively and defensively.
Neutral site game, and you start making some shots.
You make
get
some
a rhythm.
shots, but I'm just saying when you look like, because like Vandy's probably, Vandy can score the basketball, so they
100%.
figure that they'll be able to out athlete McNeese State. Now that McNeese State doesn't have Wade anymore. Now if they had Wade, the North Carolina State coach, you'd be in bigger trouble. So you got a little bit of a new regime, but you got the same culture. So Vandy thinks they're going to outscore everybody, and they've done that for the most part. And they made their run to the the SEC championship.
Yep.
But I think that was their apex.
We've seen that time and time again where teams get hot in the conference tournament and then they come in the tournament and then one and done.
Right, because they can't get over the hump, or it's a little bit of a hangover from losing. So, but what I'm saying for Nebraska, when you're really efficient and you look like a really, tidied up crew, offensively and defensively, low turnovers, high assist to turnover ratio, you probably can, a team that's supposed to be really good on the boards, and you break even or beat them on the boards with 24 hours to prepare. You know what I'm saying? For that type of pace, because let's just say everything holds true. Nebraska wins, Vandy wins. Vandy's used to playing at their pace. They've never faced this type of pace and this type of crisp offense when it's going. And then when you kind of throw in the different coverages that Nebraska runs, they can't replicate that. The teams that have done well against Nebraska, and I know that everybody's going to say over the last 12 games or in a month and a half, they haven't really beat a viable opponent. But when you play teams and you play coaches that have been in the league against you, and they have your kryptonite, right? You got my man Oscar the Grouch from Purdue. That's Nebraska's kryptonite. Big old hillbilly, man. He's just he's throwing people out the club, and obviously they came out hitting threes and they were really efficient.
Yep.
But you don't have that type of crew just walking around in every single conference or every team. And that's why you have to be realistic. It sets up really well for Nebraska, not only to get over that hump and put that to bed, but then let's go win 2 or 3 more games.
As always, Hour 1 of Old School is brought to you by Heartland Nebraska Windows. Heartland Nebraska Windows is based out of Howland, Nebraska, and they offer free estimate, full window replacements, and final triple warranty on everything while keeping the prices affordable. Heartland Nebraska Windows is located and family-owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland Nebraska Windows a call today for more information at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. And as always, if you'd like to join in on the conversation, 402-464-5685. That's the Starter Heyman Julius text line. Our man Eric already on the call. My man back from a well-deserved day off, Jay Foreman. Yeah, hey, it's tournament week. We got to get you rested and you're ready to go. And no load management around here, but no load management.
I like it.
No load. He's not Kawhi Leonard over here.
Yeah. Low load management. I like that. Man. That's pretty
Jay
good.
Load Management Foreman. I think we got a new nickname.
I like that.
But, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, sometimes you need it a little bit. If it was football season, needs to be some load management, but not so much during basketball. But there's nothing better than March Madness.
I agree. Like some of my biggest memories growing up is watching the tournament, being in school, maybe you get that one teacher who turns on the game. You ever have those moments where,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was in like first grade, second grade when they used to wheel the TV in from.
I was the same thing. Dwayne Perjak, my favorite teacher of all time. And unfortunately he passed away. Yeah. He was a guy that, to be honest with you, we were very close. Okay. He's the first guy that, like, as a teacher, and he'd watch me play football, and he would just kind of like, man, I believe in you, man. He's like, you're a really good football player. You're going to do great things. You're going to do great things. He spoke life into me. Mm-hmm. And he was a social studies teacher, hard on us, right? But he loved basketball. And he'd always, come watch us, when we play. Even in the summer, we were playing AAU and stuff. And I remember, we were in there, and it was kind of a little bit of a slower time, because in Minnesota we graduated in June, and so we have a little bit more time than Nebraska, and so he kept, kind of hyping it up. We got a big day Thursday, I'm thinking like, dang, we got a quiz,
quiz, or something like that.
Quiz, and he's like, it might be worth 80% of your grade. Make sure you're here and all this and all that. So everybody's there, and he's like, you guys ready? And we were like, I got my little notes or whatever, the little notes I actually thought I was taking. And he flipped the lights off and rolled that thing in there. And he rolled in 2 TVs, and we watched. It was awesome. It was awesome.
I've had those memories too, where we got study hall and we begged the teacher to turn on the games or whatnot. Those 11 o'clock games or like lunchtime, he begged to turn the TV on or whatnot. Those are some of the memories. You remember the RJ Hunter shot, Georgia State?
Oh yeah.
I was in U.S. history during that. We didn't start class until after that ending, and so I got to witness that in the moment.
I remember his shot, but his dad was the coach, right?
His dad was the coach.
And his dad was hurt, right?
Yeah,
his dad had
when they won the Sun Belt,
he celebrated too much, right?
He tore his Achilles or his ACL or whatever.
And he still was not supposed to celebrate. Remember, he was up and down, and they had the trainer it was a female, but she was sitting right next to him. She kept pulling him down because they made a little bit of run. One of my favorite, I remember watching, if Austin's listening, I remember watching the Christian Laettner shot against Kentucky live. And I hated Duke at that point because it just seemed like, they'd always, Christian Laettner was a little, rough or whatever. And it seemed like nobody could beat Duke, and I hated Duke ever since they beat, I'd never really liked Duke, but my hate for Duke was at that time when they beat my running Rebels. Okay. I still think that they were on the take for that, but they had Grant Hill and company. So I remember that. I remember watching that. And then also I remember when Wally Zerbiak went on his run.
Still a March Madness legend.
Right, March Madness legend. Then he obviously got drafted by the Timberwolves. I was fortunate enough to meet Wally and hung out with him a couple times. A really good dude. Here's a funny story about Christian Laettner. So when he played for the Timberwolves, and this is after I became more mature and stuff, like understanding that, he was a really good player, right? You can't get too mad that he's a really good player. He lived not like by me, but as I used to go, like it was like on the way to the Eden Prairie Mall. Mm-hmm. And he would be out there, and he was cool as heck, man. You'd see him walking around the mall, and he would talk to us and stuff like that. And he would end up being, pretty not like what you saw.
Just a normal guy.
Yeah. March Madness legend.
It's still on TV.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah. March Madness legend.
I think those are some of the best memories. I was thinking like upsets because I think that's what makes the tournament. I know we talked about, chalk. People don't like seeing all chalk. People love the underdog stories. They're easy to get behind. So the 4-13 history behind it, I was looking into some history with it. Nebraska is one of them. Kansas is a 4 seed against a 13 Cal Baptist. Alabama, Hofstra. Alabama has obviously their issues.
They got out there, man. But they either going to play really well.
They did with Brandon Miller's whole situation.
Or they're going to. I still think Bama will win.
And then their last 4-13, I can't remember, Hawaii and Arkansas.
Hey.
Hawaii's solid.
Hey. John Calipari has not slept watching that Hawaii team. They are big and they are physical. I don't know why. It's not too hard to recruit to Hawaii, but
basketball, exactly. Like you think, okay, you got nice weather and whatnot, but how do you get West Coast and whatnot and find some guys? They were a team. I was like, okay, if Nebraska draws Hawaii, that's a tough matchup.
So let me ask you this: out of all the 4-13s, and you want to do 5-12s as well, or just out of the 4-13s?
Let's just 4-13s.
Who are you picking to lose?
So I've been saying I'm on the Cal Baptist train. First time ever in the tournament. They got some guys on their team. They turn the ball over at a high rate though, but they slow it down kind of like an Iowa team. But Kansas, you don't know which Kansas team you're going to get.
Yeah.
And this is not the, you see the name Kansas in March.
It's not the Kansas. Rafe LaFrentz isn't walking through that door. Paul Pierce is not coming through there.
Exactly. This isn't even like the Christian Brown led teams. It's a different Kansas team than what, the name's the brand. That's just what that whole bracket, that whole region is, Michigan State, UConn, UCLA, Duke, and all them up in there. Cal Baptist, that's what March is all about. Like Cal Baptist, who some people didn't even know they were even a D1 team.
I did not.
Exactly.
I did not.
Exactly. And then they win they beat Utah Valley in the WAC championship, the final WAC championship. The conference is going away.
Right.
They win against Kansas. Hey, it's a good story. That's what March is all about. Like St. Peter's, not a 13 seed, but they were a 15 seed a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Who knew who they were?
And those are the great stories. Remember those at
Loyola Chicago with the Sister Jean.
Yeah.
Sister Jean.
Yeah, I mean that's look, one of my AAU teammates, Jared Nunez, actually we went to high school together. He's a little bit younger than me, but he was on the team Valparaiso when Bryce Drew hit the shot.
Okay.
And now he is a first assistant at Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but those are legends.
That same year, Loyola Chicago, you had Nevada make a run with Eric Musselman, who was the coach, and the Martin brothers, Cody and Caleb.
Did you ever hear about the story about the Martin brothers?
No. What about them?
The Martin brothers. So the third guy on the team, I think there's two Martin brothers. The third guy, I remember I was listening to this because they were talking about March Madness stories. So Eric Musselman, maybe it was the next year. It was the next year because they got a transfer in. One of the Martin brothers was dipping the stick with the star player.
Okay.
And if you remember, if text line, if you can Google, it was either that year or the year after, one of the Martin brothers had a black eye. And so Eric Musselman was like, yeah, this is over. Our run is over.
Interesting.
Yeah. It can happen. It's old kind of Percy Harvin and Golden Tate.
Crazy. Ohio Husker on the chat says, is the station doing a bracket challenge? All the listeners can get in.
Tell them where they can get in.
You can go on, if you want to go on ESPN tournament challenge, go there, search 93.7 the ticket 2026. You should be able to enter for free and fill out your picks and compete against the best of the best. Jay Foreman's filling out his bracket as we speak. I look over. He's probably.
I need some help though.
I mentioned Cal Baptist. You probably just put in Cal Baptist now.
You had me thinking, man. you a good salesman, man. You had me thinking about Cal Baptist. But if Kansas loses it, Bill Self might.
Jock Vaughn's right there. Jock Vaughn's one of the assistant coaches.
I know he is.
So I don't know. I don't think
it's not happening.
I mean, Kyle Perry lost so many times. I mean, Kyle Perry. We talked about him. Oakland, and then they lost to St. Peter's as well.
And then remember when Kentucky didn't make the tournament, they went and played
NIT with Nerlens Noel.
And they lost to
Mount St. Mary. Was it Mount St. Mary's?
No, it was Dayton. Wasn't it Dayton they lost to? Because they lost to Dayton, I think.
I remember because they were the higher seed, but they played at
Dayton. I think it was Dayton or it was Mount St. Mary. It was embarrassing.
Because it was like they were one of the last four out, Nerlens Noel and company. And Nerlens Noel was, at the time, was a lottery pick.
Yeah.
So at the time, it's like, okay, Kentucky should just run roughshod through the NIT because, they're not a team that's in the NIT. And then they ended up running into some, random team and whatnot, and then they lose. I'll look it up here. But yes, I do remember that that whole saga with the NIT for them because I remember they go into that and it's like, yeah, they should easily make it through.
One upset that I might think happened with the I guess I wouldn't say call them a blue blood program, but a well-known program. Akron against Texas Tech.
That's a big one because JT Toppin's out.
Yeah.
And Akron, I mean, the MAC conference.
They can shoot and they can defend. And they have all the way back to, remember when George Mason made their run? They will give you problems.
I was a youngin then, but yes, I do see the videos and whatnot of all that.
And it comes down to guard play. Don't you think?
How you win in March with guards. That's historically how it goes. Not all the time, but historically, yes. It's crazy that I'm trying to figure out this NIT situation with Kentucky because that was a very famous game. They went on the road. It was a smaller gym.
Unmasked texter. This is an accurate statement, right? I wouldn't say the first one is right, but this is he said unmasked texter says Akron is trash. They got lucky and won their conference. Otherwise, they would not be in the dance. Trash team. That's any MAC team. You got to win it to get in. Now, Akron did get a little bit of help. I like their coach. I think they'll give Texas Tech some problems early, but I think Texas Tech will get it going. I don't see Texas Tech making it past. I mean, the two wounded teams are going to be playing to get to the Sweet 16.
Well, in Akron, they won their conference just out of spite, essentially.
Yeah.
But, everybody talked about the MAC, Miami, Ohio. People kind of forgot about Akron in the MAC.
What's your opinion? Do you think they should have to be in the play-in game?
No. You won 31 games.
Lost 1.
It'd be like if we go back to Wichita State with Fred Van Vliet and Ron Baker.
Way back, and when they first started kind of busting on the scene.
Before they really put it together with Clee Anthony Early in that group. They won. And, hey, I think if, 10 seed, 11 seed, sure. But you shouldn't have to play your way in. I guess you didn't win your conference, but I think they were better than some teams that are 11 seeds.
My man, Captain Obvious, says this. He says, VCU is making a run this year. They have an easier path. Yeah, in North Carolina without
Caleb
Wilson is, I think, listen, Hubert Davis takes a lot of shots, and he's earned them. But I think this year he coached really well. I think if Caleb Wilson plays or doesn't get hurt, you're talking about a 3 seed for sure, 2 or 3 more wins. Without him, they are set up to, I wouldn't say to fail, they're set up to get beat.
Another one I'll point out is South Florida. They're rolling. South Florida, they're 11 seed. They're playing Louisville. Louisville's without Michael Brown Jr., one of their top scorers. And South Florida is rolling. Yeah, they've won 10 straight games.
And they're calling it on social media. I saw that. Like on social media, we're coming.
Really?
Yeah. There was somebody on, I don't know if it was like an account that was like affiliated. Oh, he's like, we got the hotels reservation for all weekend.
Waverly Jim says he thinks all play-in games should be at-large teams. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with that because if you win your conference, I don't think you should be in there. But then again, like the 16 seeds, what do you do with that? Because the 16 seeds are going to be, not at-large teams. They're all conference teams. Like we saw UMBC and Howard, both deservingly so, but, they're 16 seeds. That's just how it is.
And it's probably some on like power ranking or points and stuff, right?
Exactly. And conference strength and whatnot because we've seen how Howard's been in it a number of years. This wasn't the first time they've been in it. They were in the first 4 a couple of years ago. So I think 11 seeds, you have to go with that. And I don't know. They've always talked about expanding the tournament as well, which I think is dumb. Why? Because then
I like it 60. Right now is enough.
68 is perfect.
Right. I think right now you got 4 games. It kind of gets you going a little bit. Let's take a quick break. Come back. Everybody text in some of your fondest March Madness memories. I'm gonna tell you mine. In person.
Okay.
My one in person. Actually, I got 2.
Okay.
So how I discovered Nebraska and my other one.
Funny you say that because the other night on Late Night, I talked about kind of my memories going through growing up. And I have a really good story as well. Right. Shout out to my mom. My mom plays a big role in this one.
All right. That's good.
We'll be back. Old school. Nick Wyman, Jay Foreman. We'll be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road. If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Tomorrow is about the lessons we learn today. A farmer's market teaches us that community is grown together. Kids laughing shows us how joy is easy. And coffee on the porch reminds us to savor every moment. These are the lessons that shape a tomorrow we all share. One filled with trust, good company, and wide open dreams. That's the way banking should be. And that's Pinnacle Bank. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Nebraska men's basketball is dancing. The Huskers qualified for the NCAA tournament, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to cover all the action. Follow me, Austin Orman, on all 93.7 The Ticket social media platforms for updates throughout Nebraska's appearance in the Big Dance. Our coverage from Oklahoma City is made possible by Sandhills Careers and Insight Partners. For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Old School Nick Wyman alongside Jay Foreman. We've just gotten kind of reminiscing of March Madness past, and we're going to continue in this first hour of Old School. Brought to you by Graham Tire, as always. 75 years of service. Good stuff, as always. And Heartland Nebraska Windows for sponsoring our one of Old School as well. Check them out as well. But before we go, we told you before the break to text in some of your favorite March Madness moments growing up or whatnot, where you were. You always kind of remember where you were during some of these moments. So we'll start with the first one. We have Captain Obvious saying Florida Gulf Coast dunks were the best.
Oh, yeah.
Dunk City.
Oh, my God. That was, it was pretty sweet.
I was in junior high during this. And we were playing in Fremont at a tournament, like a March, a tournament or whatever, whatnot. And in between games, we had the game on. And I remember, oh my gosh, I picked Georgetown to go to the Final Four that year. as like a 7th grader or 8th grader or whatever I was at the time. So my bracket was busted ASAP because of said game of Florida Gulf Coast. That was a electric team. I mean, like out of nowhere.
They were dunking. I mean,
throwing oops and everything. They
Yeah.
were electric stuff. That was a really good one because that was, I mean, then they won the next game. They beat San Diego State, made the Sweet 16 with that team. And that was like one of the first 15 seasons we ever saw, not only win a game, but make it to the second weekend of the dance.
Yeah.
That's an exciting one. A couple other ones we have from, Mr. Blitzkrieg on YouTube saying, remembers Jimmer Fredette madness? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's when he really took the world by storm and, just completely became, a sensation.
Yeah.
And Jimmer Fredette,
Worldwide.
Jimmer Fredette shooting those threes from, not even NBA range, from like half court.
Yeah, worldwide, though. He parlayed it to a pretty successful career over there, I think, in China or Japan.
Yeah, China. He's like a multiple-time MVP of the league.
Yeah.
That was a big one as well. As always, remember, Station's doing a bracket challenge, ESPN Tournament Challenge. Go to there, 9317 the ticket. 2026, you should be able to enter and compete against some of the best and win some prizes if you finish near the top as well.
And they can find it on Facebook.
Find it, go to our Facebook page, 9317 the ticket. It is pinned at the top if that's the easiest way to get to it if you cannot find it via search. Still time to enter. We have a ton of people already entered. I already filled in my bracket. Farley's been bragging about his bracket. Allegedly, he had a perfect, like nearly perfect bracket last year. I mean, it was very,
I don't know how that happens. He can't play basketball a lick, and he don't watch no basketball. But he's a little. I tell you, he's like the black leprechaun. When we play football, block the punt, hits off the dang AstroTurf right in his hands, right past me. Johnny on the spot.
The Bandit says Chalmers shot to win against Kentucky. That was against Memphis. That was against Memphis
with Derek Rose.
Derek Rose.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that one as well. Mario Chalmers, then goes to Miami Heat and has running mates with LeBron and company there.
Yeah, hit a couple big shots there too.
Yeah. Started point guard on those teams. People forget. Yeah, that Kansas team with them. Brandon Rush, I believe, is on that team as well. Yeah, that was a big one. Let's see. Jordan Peace is not a Cinderella by any means, but Keith Van Horn, Andre Miller, and for Utah was great basketball.
Yeah, well, that was in him and Andre Miller.
Another guy.
And Rick Majerus was the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric said Jay Farley said early that he could beat you one-on-one.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
I don't know. We're gonna have to find the
bad knees and bad ankles again. No way.
I don't know, Eric. You might have to find the clip of that. I don't know if that was said. I was sitting back here in the back planning for the show, but we might have to stream that. No.
No, that would be it would go viral. Like, look at these two dudes. They'd show us playing football, pretty athletic. Look at this is what time does to you.
Time is everybody's
skips no man. Father time skips no man.
I'll learn that someday, and someday, some way. Jay, what are some of your fondest memories of March Madness? Not only throughout your life, but also just growing up.
In person. I mean, there's a lot. I watched it all the time in person. This is when I was first starting to think about playing basketball or football. I was a basketball player until the reality hit me. Until my dad told me he's like, there's about 1,000 people averaging 20 points, and I came off a good AAU season, so I thought I was the only guy that could do some things. Got a couple letters, a couple offers, but my dad got me out of school. And this is when they had it up in Minneapolis and they were playing at the Metrodome. So he got some, went and scalped tickets and stuff. I was just happy to be out of school and go watch basketball.
Exactly.
And this is when Nebraska was the number 3 seed. And they had Rich King and I think Keith Moody and all them. And I think Piakowski was there. And I was like, Nebraska has a basketball team and they're actually good. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I was kind of cheering for him. And, I think Rich King was like 7'2" and all that. You don't remember Rich King?
I was not around, but yes.
I think they lost to Xavier and they got the dog walked on them from the very beginning.
I think this is before Xavier became the Xavier basketball.
Yeah, but they beat the brakes off Nebraska. And one of my best friends, one of the first people I met when I moved to Minneapolis was a huge Nebraska fan. He has a lot of family here in Nebraska. He fits Nebraska. Pale white dude, like ginger red hair. Jason Spinarney. And I went back to school the next day. It was like, your team sucks. Because Nebraska would always play Miami, which was my team in football.
Yep.
And so that's my first one in person. The second one is I was in Vegas and with some friends and you go to the sports book. And I'm not a bettor. But I'll go and they say it's a great time. I'm like, how could it be a great time? Everybody's in their bed. So we went out the night before. We drew numbers, so we got a piece of paper. We actually was on napkins. And so we had to stand in line everybody took a 30-minute or an hour shift. So we kept our space in line to get a table. So we got a table, and, then you get breakfast buffet and all that. So that kind of helped out. And then, you start drinking, then, the games start, and they're on all day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. Well, that was the year that you told me Norfolk State beat Missouri. It was a last-second shot,
Mm-hmm.
And I think Duke lost that year, right?
There were a ton of upsets.
Yeah, I think Duke lost that year.
Lehigh.
Yeah,
CJ McCollum.
Duke lost that year because the guy I was with, I told him, I said, Norfolk State's going to win. And you know what's crazy? This is honestly got true. I was up late and Norfolk State was playing. I was like, and they had that big dude in the middle.
Kylo Quinn.
Yeah, and I was like, dang, these guys are actually pretty good. They're pretty good. I was like, they're going to win. And then I picked Duke just because I hate Duke. I said, Duke's going to. And the dude was like, man, if I listened to you, you would have won a couple $1,000. But everybody was on pins and needles of that shot. It wasn't because of who was going to win. It was their bets. And then it was like, then they would do that game, and then another one come down to the last second, and somebody would either, I guess, cover or not.
Whatever, yeah.
That was probably one of the most exciting times being in person.
So Earthquake Glue says in the chat here, I watched Danny Manning and the Jayhawks play in Devaney the first 2 rounds before they won an '88 championship. So, hey, that's pretty
Danny
cool.
Manning and the Miracles.
Hey, that is what it is. You get to see some
great
great
where he's
stuff.
coaching at now?
I've seen it around Colorado.
Yeah.
Hey,
and his son is coaching at another rival school.
Can't remember exactly.
Because they just had him on TV. That's the only reason I know.
So for me, growing up here in Lincoln, Nebraska, a Nebraska fan and whatnot, the first time the Nebraska made it in forever was when Tram Petaway, Siobhan Shields, Ray Gallegos, Benny Parker, Walter Pitchford. That group ended up playing Baylor, and Isaiah Austin, Pierre Jackson.
Oh.
So that was, when Tim Miles led them in.
Yeah.
Snow Sit Sunday happened against Wisconsin. They win that game. So that happened. And I'm like, I cannot miss this Nebraska basketball game against Baylor coming up. It was on a Friday, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong if it was the Thursday game, but I believe it was a Friday game, day game in the NCAA tournament in the early 2010s. So Nebraska's playing Baylor. Creighton's on the other side of the bracket too with Doug McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska's playing Baylor, and I'm like, this game's like a 2:00 tip off, and I'm like, gosh, I'm gonna be stuck in school. I'm gonna miss this game. I have to watch this game. So when the bracket comes out and we find out the tip times, I begged my mom. I'm like, Mom, you got to call me out of school. I have to watch this game. My mom's not the biggest basketball fanatic or whatever. When she'll watch basketball from time to time, she doesn't know the players. When I'm pitching to her like, hey, Nebraska's never won a tournament game. I have to watch this game. It's so memorable. It's gonna be memorable. I have to remember that I watched it. And she's like, oh no, you got to go to school. You got to go to school. Whatever. All right. So then around 10:30 on Friday comes, Nick Wyman, please come to the office. I get called down and I have a doctor's appointment. And
Mom Dukes came through clutch.
Yep. And I leave and I get to watch a full day of March Madness. Mercer beat Duke that year too. So I got to watch a full day of college basketball.
Sorry, Austin.
Get out of school on a Friday. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Austin, to rub in the Duke low lights for you in the March Madness tournament. But yes, my mom came in clutch. The MVP, appreciate it to this day. Still a story I talk about to this day. It was so worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome when the parents come through for a day off.
Yeah, Foley says, game was on a Thursday morning at 11 a.m. I remember it because I watched it in the hospital while my wife was in labor. Right after she was able to relax. so that's what I mean. I knew it was
special delivery.
This is what I mean. These moments live in infamy in your life. You remember where you were when said shot went and said upset happened. Nebraska playing in the tournament the last time they played in the tournament. Everybody remembers where they were a couple of years ago against A&M when that game happened. The game against Baylor, as mentioned, Foley here on the chat says that, and I was, begging. I knew it was an early game because I got out of a full day. I went to one class that day.
Yeah.
And then it was Thursday, and I come back to school Friday, and everyone's like, "Oh, how was your doctor's appointment?" I was like, "Yeah, pretty good.
I got a new lease on life.
Feel pretty good." So everybody remembers those moments. I think those are some of the biggest ones. What's your favorite upset of all time? Because everybody has one of those, where you're watching. Obviously, UMBC was a big one. I remember that was a late game.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about that the other night with me, saying how they were oh, I was going to go to bed because I saw 116, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. And then they went to bed.
That's the easy one. I think one of the best upsets. Well, you want to know the one that was really heartbreaking for me.
Go ahead.
When Princeton beat my Georgetown Hoyas.
Yeah.
And it was 43-41. Remember, they were just
game.
passing the ball around. And Georgetown got, board, back cut, 2 points. That hurt me. So, I grew up a big Georgetown fan. Hoya paranoia.
They used to be so good, like for a year. I mean, Roy Hibbert was there in the late 2000s, and then you had Otto Porter.
Yeah.
And now they're just kind of, Mac McClung was there for a bit before he transferred around as well. But since then, they haven't really,
that one was the biggest upset. One of my favorite calls was Gus Johnson. You a fan of Gus?
I am a fan of Gus. He used to call the tournament, yes.
And when Isaiah Thomas hit that last second shot.
Yes, I've seen that one a bajillion times.
That's the best one.
One of the best ones in recent memory. So we talked about the history of the 4-13 matchups. Recently, Virginia was a 4 seed, lost to 13 seed Furman.
I remember that.
This is when, Virginia has the ball. Some reason throws the ball down the court. Furman picks it off, hits a 3 to take the lead. And that's when Kevin Harlan and all is like, we believe what we just saw. And then Stan Van Gundy sitting there just in shock.
Yeah.
That's another really famous one. So
inbounding the ball, as we've seen, is a lost art.
Yeah. Northwestern that one year played at A&M and they blew the lead because they couldn't get the ball in. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I mean, the little things that you probably like, oh, it's no big deal, generally come back to bite you when you're a team trying to get over the hump. Northwestern trying to win, close out that game, or, I think Nebraska is real detailed, so that won't happen with Nebraska. But we saw it a little bit last night. Got a couple games, going on right now. So it's pretty tough.
Mark says, number 1, watching March Madness with my 3 boys for many years, and now they love it. Number 2, learning about teams like Valparaiso and Gonzaga and Villanova and Marquette and Princeton, great coaches and basketball. I mean, that's the best thing, learning about the stories of each of the teams and whatnot, like Loyola Chicago being one with, Sister Jean alongside Porter Mosier in that group. A very exciting team. St. Peter's a couple of years ago with Doug Eddert becoming a March Madness legend. And some Jack Golke that year. DJ Burns.
Yeah. What about the emergence of Gonzaga? Because I'm looking at them right now. And you know what? Remember when they had Morrison? Was it right?
Adam Morrison. Yep.
And they lost. And remember, it was an upset, even though they were in grade 8, I think, or whatever it was. Yes. It was supposed to be the year. And he was like Doug McDermott before Doug McDermott. He was kind of like, tall white guy from, Gonzaga, going to be the next Larry Bird, and never really recovered from that.
Went to the NBA. He was NBA champion on that Lakers team, though, on the bench.
Yeah.
Didn't play.
The ring still fits.
It does.
And you still get the same Chizek.
Interesting times. But yeah, upsets galore, always fun. There's going to be some tomorrow. We learn about some. 4-13 is always interesting. 5-12. If you had to pick, what upset are you most comfortable with right now, looking at your bracket? I mean, obviously, do you consider a 7-10 an upset? I wouldn't. I know Santa Clara and Kentucky, people are like, oh, that's an upset.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but I'm not picking that one.
Okay.
I think I know UCLA is playing well right now, but their best player is hurt.
And they're not good away from Los Angeles.
Yep. And I like Johnny Dawkins.
Good coach.
I like the athletic ability UCF. I don't really like Scott Frost. That's my pick right there.
There you go.
UCF.
That's how you lock it in. A couple more before we get over at Captain Obvious says, if you like fantasy football, picking players from teams in the field of 64 is almost better. Yeah, because you just get to follow along and there's no pressure with it. Corey from Lincoln says, late 80s and early 90s, Georgetown was cool school nationally. Tons of kids wore Georgetown gear coast to coast. My buddies and I all had Georgetown and Charlotte Hornets gear. Don't see it nowadays. Maybe a little bit of Charlotte, but yeah.
And I don't know if it's NIL based or what. But man, the DMV would be able to recruit there.
Crazy.
And that alumni. So, time passes them all.
Georgetown, maybe one day they'll be back in the tournament. Maybe one day. We'll be right back. Old School, Nick Wyman, Jay Foreman, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring is the time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Wake up, Lincoln. You're not dreaming. Schaefer Sleep Gallery has closeout mattresses up to 50% off. Hurry in now for the best selection and savings on Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland closeouts. We're talking one-of-a-kinds, floor models, and closeouts up to 50% off. Plus, Schaefer Sleep Gallery has free local delivery on any closeout Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland mattress while they last. So hurry in to save hundreds. Plus, free local delivery on closeout mattresses in the Sleep Gallery at Schaefer's. 48th and R, Lincoln.
The wait is over. It's Truck Month at Anderson Ford, which means big selection and even bigger savings on Ford F-150s. Like lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for only $195 per month. The truck that's built to work hard and play hard. Another reason you'll experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1008409. Previous service letter. $195 per month for 36 months, 7,500 miles per year, 8,500 with tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We have an incredible day on tap here around the Lincoln area. We'll get up to 73 for a high temperature, plenty of sunshine, just a couple of high thin clouds and a light westerly wind. Tonight, partly cloudy, 43 for your low, and then 78 sunny tomorrow, and then sunny and low 80s on Friday. I'm meteorologist Aaron Downer for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Have you been looking for home technology upgrades but don't know where to turn? Online information can be contradicting and confusing. Lincoln's own experts at Dio Technologies can turn your living room into the place to watch your favorite sports. Whatever your vision is, Dio Tech is ready to make it a reality. From home theaters to outdoor entertainment spaces, they bring you along through the entire process to make sure you get exactly what you want. If you're ready to upgrade your entertainment space, visit Diotech online at diotech.net or give them a call at 402-793-5124.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Copple Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Copple. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. or 13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G1739777 with approved credit.
One last night, one legendary career. On April 4th at 7 p.m., Love Nebraska hosts Love Austin at Baxter Arena, and it marks the final home match of Olympic gold medalist Jordan Larson's career. From world championships to unforgettable runs in Nebraska, she's defined excellence at every level. Now she shares the court one final time at home against an Austin squad ready to compete. It's more than a matchup. It's a farewell to a Nebraska icon and global trailblazer. Be there to witness history on April 4th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now at lovbneb.com/tickets.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Old School, Nick Wyman filling in for Austin Orman, who's down in Oklahoma City, gearing up for a big one. It's a 4-13 matchup, but hey, still a big one. 11:40 tomorrow, True TV. You can watch
You got
that.
a score prediction?
I got Nebraska winning. I'm not going to say a score, but I think I think it's a little feeling out process for the first 10 minutes, but Nebraska is able to go on a little bit of one of those runs that we've seen, like teams like Penn State and Rutgers, where they just kind of take over the game and everything goes right. And then Nebraska is just in control and kind of holds on for a, I'll say 15, 20-point win.
I got 72-56.
I think I had like 79-58 or something like that, which, I think Troy is going to be, they're going to play loose. They're, no pressure for a team like that. That's what I think the underdogs, maybe a little bit of a good thing for them. Hey, you're 13, 14, 15 seed. You're not supposed to win this game, so you play a little loose because, hey, this is maybe the last time you suit up together, but also as a professional or collegiate career or whatever, or whatnot. Maybe the last time you suit up in general. So I think they play a little loose and make some, if they can get some shots to fall down.
Yeah.
I also think the crowd, like Nebraska's going to have a nice crowd regardless. But I think the neutral crowd is what worries me the most. Let's say Troy makes some shots and whatnot. Stand-byers who are Vanderbilt McNeese fans sitting around, start cheering for an underdog if it's a close game. You see it all the time, like Fairleigh Dickinson and Purdue a couple years ago. I'm not comparing it to that game or whatnot, but Fairleigh Dickinson had a nice crowd toward the final 8 minutes of that game because the underdog, that just how sports work. People cheer for an underdog.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nebraska's going to allow that to happen. I think they finally get it done, win their first NCAA tournament game, and advance to Saturday, whenever that is, against either Vanderbilt or McNeese.
Yeah, I think they, win. I think the first game's always hardest, and you're playing early. So I think eventually they'll kind of impose their will.
So Price Sanford and Sam Hoiberg talked to the media, and they said they like the early games. They haven't had a lot of them, but they said they just think it's nice because you get in routine and whatnot. I can see that. Like, let's say you're an 8 o'clock tip or whatever or whatnot
at night,
and you have to wait all day.
Yeah.
Plus, let's say a game goes overtime, and then you're there.
Yeah, before you.
And then you're just standing around. We've seen that time and time again in March Madness where people are just standing in the tunnel, waiting and waiting and waiting. And a game, 8:30 game turns into 8:45 because then you have to shoot around and warm ups and whatnot. I'm glad they're just getting it out of the way,
especially for Nebraska hadn't won and to get off early.
They should have a nice crowd too. People are going down. Should be nice. I saw the weather in Oklahoma City should be really good this time of year. Better than playing in like you said, Buffalo or whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, Buffalo would be nice weather, but it'd be hard travel. So
Sorensen, then they left this morning around right after early break got off the air, and then Austin fell behind, and they're all there right now. Check our social media. They're on the ground in Oklahoma City. They're live tomorrow. Early break is live from the Marriott Hotel there. They're letting them outside at 6 o'clock in the morning from the patio out there.
Yeah, and there's construction down there, right?
Is there really?
Yeah, that's what Sipple said this morning. There's like cranes and stuff going on. But I doubt people will be working that early.
Beat the heat?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, noise. You don't want that type of noise at 6 o'clock. You're waking up people.
Because I think Sorensen was trying to figure out how he could do this because they didn't want to just sit in their hotel rooms or whatever or whatnot and just stream. It's like, okay, they want to be a part of it and have, the fan base who are making the trip down to Oklahoma City to be a part of the show. So if you're around Marriott, Oklahoma City, if you're around, early break tomorrow will be live 6 a.m. You don't have to be there right at 6 a.m. unless you want to. Bring some coffee or whatnot. Exciting times.
Little Bloody Mary or mimosas, right?
I don't know.
Or red beer, since in Nebraska, that's their thing, red beer.
If you want to, it'd be exciting. But tomorrow, so you got them winning.
Oh, yeah.
Winning.
Yeah, 72-56.
72-56.
Mark it here. Go to the Warhorse Casino.
I got to see your bracket. We got to see your bracket before you get out. Who do you got your before you get out? Yeah, who do you got?
Final four, I got Duke, Purdue, Florida, Michigan.
You got Florida over Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a little different. All right, who you got in your championship?
Duke, Michigan. I got Duke winning.
A rematch.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way. Everybody's saying it, including myself. Now both teams are probably going to be done by Sunday.
I know. They're going to be first round upset. Brackets over. That happens to me every year.
I feel good about it. Yeah. And then by the end of the first day, I'm like, yeah, I'm not looking at this thing until
I'm just angry.
April.
Yeah.
I'll watch the Masters instead to get my mind off it. So
there you go.
Nick Wyman, Jay Foreman going to get out of here. We're going to hold it down for another 2 hours here on 93.7 The Ticket before you turn it over to Ticket Weeknights with Harrison Arns. We'll be right back. 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Coppell. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at coppellcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G173977 with approved credit.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out the top-selling Epic Effects. Epic Effects is designed to help blast body fat, curb cravings, and provide smooth energy so you can cruise through the day. Home of free samples and better than internet pricing, Epic Effects can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Have you been looking for home technology upgrades but don't know where to turn? Online information can be contradicting and confusing. Lincoln's own experts at Dio Technologies can turn your living room into the place to watch your favorite sports. Whatever your vision is, Dio Tech is ready to make it a reality. From home theaters to outdoor entertainment spaces, they bring you along through the entire process to make sure you get exactly what you want. If you're ready to upgrade your entertainment space, visit Diotech online at diotech.net or give them a call at 402-793-5124. One last night, one legendary career. On April 4th at 7 p.m., Love Nebraska hosts Love Austin at Baxter Arena, and it marks the final home match of Olympic gold medalist Jordan Larson's career. From world championships to unforgettable runs in Nebraska, she's defined excellence at every level. Now she shares the court one final time at home against an Austin squad ready to compete. It's more than a matchup. It's a farewell to a Nebraska icon and global trailblazer. Be there to witness history on April 4th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now at lovbneb.com/tickets.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Nebraska men's basketball is dancing. The Huskers qualified for the NCAA tournament, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to cover all the action. Follow me, Austin Orman, on all 93.7 The Ticket social media platforms for updates throughout Nebraska's appearance in the Big Dance. Our coverage from Oklahoma City is made possible by Sandhills Careers and Insight Partners. If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Spring is the time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Nick Wyman with your sports update. The Nebraska women's basketball team takes the floor this evening for the first four of the 2026 NCAA women's basketball tournament. The Cornhuskers battle Richmond in Durham, North Carolina, with tip-off set for 6 p.m. Central Time. That game between the Cornhuskers and the Spiders can be seen on ESPN2. Husker baseball collected an 8-1 win over Wichita State on Tuesday, which pushed the Cornhuskers' winning streak to 10 games. Case Anderson and Jet Buck combined to drive in 5 runs for the Cornhuskers. After Nebraska wraps up that series with the Shockers today, the Cornhuskers travel to Ann Arbor for a 3-game set against Michigan Wolverines, with Game 1 of that series set for this Friday. Postseason is here for Nebraska wrestling and Husker bowling. The Cornhuskers wrestling team heads to the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Cleveland, Ohio, with the first matches set for Thursday. As for Nebraska bowling, the Huskers are competing at the Conference USA tournament, which began earlier today and wraps up on Sunday. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here at 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score. Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers. Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello from Oklahoma City. Austin Orman checking in here on Old School. Glad to be along for the ride. Plenty to talk about from my time down here in Oklahoma City. But first of all, I got to give a big thanks to Graham Tire Company. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. 402-464-5685 if you want to go ahead and be a part of the show. Would love to hear from you. Harrison, what's up? How are you?
What's up, Austin Orman? Yeah, filling in here. We're going deep into the bullpen early as we're starting our March Madness coverage, and in particular with Nebraska basketball. No, I'm doing fantastic. You guys left. I'm sure you're having a blast down there, and I'm sure the weather's nice down there too, but it is gorgeous in Lincoln. I'm just walking around seeing the smiles on people's faces. The mood's just a little bit different on a beautiful 6-degree day here in the capital city.
I'm glad that the mood is good up there in Lincoln. It is officially 79 per my weather app down here in Oklahoma City. If I call it Stillwater, it just feels like the same thing in my head because I've been down here a couple times now. The most recent time would have been for Husker baseball when Nick and I came down for that regional. But my wife and I also came down here and we did our loop through Oklahoma and Texas and then came back. So if I say Stilly, just know that I mean Oklahoma City. That for some reason has been on my mind. I passed the Stillwater exit on my way down here today, and I'm just glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm somewhat lucid. It's been a bit of a whirlwind down here. I don't know what you heard or didn't hear from the early break crew about their stress levels for getting down here to Oklahoma City. I wasn't too worried about it, but all day it's just been text after text after text from these grown men. They can't deal with a little uncertainty. They just can't deal with, I don't know for sure that everything is lined up. I mean, someone says it's lined up, but how can I be sure until I get down there? Shout out Oklahoma City. Shout out our hotel. It's literally, in the literal definition of literally, right next door to the arena. The staff has been fantastic at the arena in here. But yeah, I left my house at 3:30 today to collect the ticket van. Drove down to Oklahoma City, and I pulled up to some public parking right about 10:45, which actually ended up being some pretty good timing, all things considered, because Nebraska's open locker room was supposed to start at 11:05. So, okay, I'm right across the street from the arena, not in the hotel yet, mind you, but just right across the street in the public parking. And I walk over, find a little shortcut to get to the media entrance, and I look over and, there's the back door to the hotel. Perfect. This is going to be great for the morning. It'll take me probably 3 minutes, depending on how long I wait for an elevator to get here to get to the doors. But again, I'm glad I got down here first before the early break crew, because it was like a 3-minute process for them to find my credential. I handed them my ID, and they looked through the A's and they looked through the O's. We don't have your credential. Are you sure you're here? Like, yeah, I've gotten multiple correspondences regarding the status of my approved credential. Like, either it's in here somewhere or someone really goofed. But I just shudder to think that the early break crew would have had to wait 3 minutes for their credential, and I hope they wouldn't have set the world on fire. Love those guys, but it's all good. OKC's treating us great. Shout out OKC and how they're treating the ticket, and all the media folks. I assume it's been a fantastic start to the trip.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, I don't know if they got out the Hail Varsity for you like they did for the basketball team when you showed up to the hotel, but okay, I mean, it's a great sports city. I mean, that is one thing about that location. You definitely see it with the Thunder, but like that town, that state in general, just loves sports. So it's a great venue. It helps that it's pretty close for us as far as all the locations go. So no, I couldn't be happier that that's where the Huskers are at, and it's a good thing you did get there, because I know I was an intern for early break, and they're wily, to say the very least. Very good at what they do, but yeah, the anxiety can spike in terms of travel.
And here's the thing. I think that I'm one of those people that is probably a little bit too hands-on. Like, I'm a quintuple checker. I don't just double check. I will. So for example, right. So I have my wallet and I have my room keys over here. Okay. So normally what I will do is I will keep one room key just in my little card slot of my wallet, just right back here. So I can pop it up, and I'll keep the other one in the inside fold. Just so they're both there. Maybe I should have a redundancy and keep one just in my pocket, one in my wallet. I don't know, but that's just how I've done it for the last couple of years that I've traveled. And I don't think I've given away any state secrets here with that information. But pickpockets, congratulations! Now you know how to get into my room. If you can guess which of the 1,000 rooms in the hotel it is, because I don't carry the key card holder with it. Anyways, point being, I put both of them in my wallet, and then as soon as I put them in my wallet, I've caught myself double checking to make sure they are where I think they are, just to make sure they're there. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get to the door, and then I'll check again. Okay, are the keys still there? Did I move them for some reason? Even if the last thing I did was check to make sure that the keys are in their spot in the wallet. And then I'll go, and then whenever I'm done with whatever I'm doing, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check to make sure my hotel keys are still there. Didn't fall out, are they still there? Are we still good? That's the kind of traveler that I am, right? I like to be hands-on. I'm okay with planning it and everything, but oh my gosh, some of the texts I've received over the last, let's call it like 96 hours.
Is there one you can share on the airwaves?
No, because I don't want to call
fair enough.
anyone specifically out, because here's the thing, it's a big deal. And we are so incredibly grateful for the chance to be able to go, right? As much fun as I'm making, it really truly is the honor of a lifetime to get to be down here. I'm so grateful to everyone at the ticket and all the sponsors that are making this trip possible, right? It's great. It's fantastic. I do not want to complain, but
Yeah,
I've had my mindset really shifted from, okay, either it works and everything is fine and dandy, and we spent all these texts and this time worrying for nothing, or it doesn't work. And guess what? We're adults and we can handle it. It's all good. It might not be ideal. It's probably going to be a headache, but you know what? We're grown. We can deal with a little adversity. We can make a plan B, even if it's not perfect. So I hope everything goes well for the rest of the crew as they make it down here. But again, shout out to all the great folks in Oklahoma City who have made, getting to the arena, getting into the hotel, a breeze for me so far.
100%. And I only ask because those guys, I think, are just unintentionally funny more often than they know it. You can take a swing at which ones are more so than others, but shout out to the early break crew. Those guys are great. And I believe I was listening that they will be doing a show kind of outside or in some sort of format out there. And as far as the traveling goes, just practice the golden rule. Everyone knows it. Phone, wallet, keys. Give yourself the pat down before you walk out the door, and you're solid. That's all you need.
No, that's exactly it. So Bubba says, Austin, that's called OCD. Yes, I do have some tendencies. I am much better now than I was 5 years ago. And even that is much better than I was 5 years before that. So, I am not OCD when it comes to packing. I packed last night at like 9 o'clock for this trip, just kind of threw stuff in the suitcase, double checked it before I ran out the door this morning. So it's really just that stuff that is hard to replace or be a pain in the butt to handle, right? Like a hotel key. Oh, it's simple. Just walk up to the front desk. Well, yeah, and feel like an idiot, or more than I usually do at the very least.
3-7 the ticket hoodie on, saying like, hey, I forgot my key.
Right. They sent this Yahoo down here. Like, can we ship him off to the other hotel across the street? I mean, we don't take their kind in here, but no, I feel like I've gotten better. Unmasked texter OCD. What's wrong with that? Are you trying to? Did I say it wrong? Did I stutter? I don't know. It's in the past. No. See, if I was OCD, I would be saying it's CDO. But alphabetical order is not a tick of mine.
There you go. Man, I don't know where to go off on that tangent there, but I'm glad that the crew's down there. People are excited. I'm super pumped up for it. We're gonna have a unique kind of lineup here at the home base at 1040 O Street at the Ticket Studios as we kind of make things work here. But nonetheless, Austin, I'm just so happy. You've known this, or at least I think you've known this. I've been a pretty diehard Nebraska basketball fan, and I don't think you know this part. In the northeast corner of Nebraska, there is something going on with a Creighton Blue Jay kind of kingdom where there's a good, strong fan base, at least where I was at in Harnington. And I was a diehard Husker fan for all these years, and it's been a painstaking process. But I'll tell you what, we got a little treat and not 2 years ago with the Texas A&M, and now we're right back into it. But this time it does feel a little bit different. It's March Madness. Chaos can happen, but it feels like Nebraska basketball is finally a brand. It might not be, a Duke or anything like that, but it is at least a brand that if they're good at basketball, it's not like, well, yeah, this year and they'll go back down to maybe what they were in years past. Regardless of how this one ends, it feels like we finally turned the corner to where I can watch sustainable, good Nebraska basketball. And I've been waiting that for my entire life. And I'm 26. I've had to wait a while, but it's finally here. And I know some out there listening have waited a lot longer than I have, but we all get to enjoy it now. And it starts with Troy. But, man, the future's looking bright.
First of all, comparison is the thief of joy, but allow me a moment of comparison. To quote Michael Scott, oh, how the turntables. Last year was Creighton in the NCAA tournament and Nebraska in the crown. Flip-flop that this year with Creighton headed out to Las Vegas. I would love to know,
Are Husker fans rooting for Creighton to win the crown because, oh, that's sweet, you can do it second, we already did it, so we don't care if you win? Are you rooting for a one and done because it'd be really funny if Nebraska could go on the road and beat Rutgers and Creighton couldn't use like an hour plus travel advantage to beat the Scarlet Knights out there in Vegas? Do you even care about Creighton in the crown? I really don't, but it's just kind of funny that's happened. But I think, Harrison, that's a good spot to start. Again, without trying to compare, because they're unique programs, Nebraska and Creighton, their own identities, their own histories. But I think another good kind of first step to look at for Nebraska men's basketball is it's on an even playing field, even just at home, right? Here in the 402, maybe the 308 and in the 531, if you want to throw those in there as well. But 3 consecutive 20-win seasons for Nebraska. Okay, respectable at the very least. Nebraska's won 3 out of 4 against Creighton, right? You had the road teams swap wins there, starting with Nebraska's win with Walker, Griesel, Bandamel, and that crew. Creighton came down and won in Lincoln. Then Nebraska won in Omaha 2 seasons ago, and then in Lincoln this year. So, okay, is that the whole tide of the rivalry swung? Probably not. But, Creighton in the next, let's say 5 years, probably the longest, more likely 3, could be in the next 3 weeks even, could be going through a coaching transition. They brought one of their guys back home, but it feels like Nebraska's coaching is in a more stable position right now with the head man and Fred Hoiberg locked up with the extension through 2032. Nebraska's been a 4 seed. Guess what? That's kind of been the range Creighton has been in the last few years, right? Nebraska's kind of matched that general range, that general height. Creighton, I don't think, has won the Big East regular season for a minute. Nebraska still hasn't, but Nebraska finishes second. Guess what? Creighton's done that in the Big East its fair share of times, right? So without trying too hard to look up the road, look up 180 and say, well, Nebraska needs to match Creighton tit for tat. And, everything Creighton does, Nebraska has to do 10% better. At the very least, I hope there's some confusion, some consternation between those Creighton fans up there in Hardington, right? They say, oh, why did we give up on Nebraska so soon, right? We get it, Creighton was good then, but why didn't we give Nebraska more of a chance? Or the kids that are in elementary school right now, maybe they heard about Creighton being good for a year or two, but here's Nebraska, right? Those middle school kids, right? They're going to grow up watching basketball. Are they gravitating to Creighton? Are they gravitating to Nebraska? And then you can talk even about in-state recruiting, right? You can think about, Creighton, still probably controlling the Metro, getting the talent that it wants, or, having better relationships. But you got, a true Lincoln kid in Braden Frager on the roster. Sam Hoiberg obviously went to Lincoln Pius. So you throw him in that mix, and Cale Jacobson. I don't know what Creighton's level of interest in him was, but Nebraska identified that Cale Jacobson was a player that they could work with. They went and got him, and now he's playing maybe not a starring role, but he certainly had some star moments, certainly in the Crown last postseason, certainly in the Senior Day win over Iowa. But, it used to be, well, why can't Nebraska get anything in state? And, this is still kind of the exception, right? It hasn't been consistent for Nebraska to the degree that it has for Creighton. But if Nebraska basketball is proving it can do this once, okay, standards reset, expectations reset. We're not holding you to winning 20 games every year. We know there are going to be ups and downs. But I do think that this Nebraska program feels on footing that is at least as stable as the footing that Creighton was on. And that would have been hard to say 3 years ago.
Oh, 100%. Creighton was the team that we were chasing in state for obvious reasons. The recruiting ground, they were really dominating there. You're kind of splitting the fan in your own state with the Creighton fans and, and all their success. And obviously with McDermott's, like, they do credit, they built a hell of a program, but it does feel like the tides have changed a little bit. And then you even heard it, with Troy Dannon, and then Fred Hoiberg gets to the extension. It sounds like the university is prepared to get behind this program as well, which, I'd have to go back to before I was alive. The last time the university, the athletic department really got behind the Nebraska basketball team, but it sounds like they're also going to add some more money into their pockets so they can not only have the brand recognition in-state recruits, but even some of those out-of-state recruits. You're seeing a lot more interest throughout the course of the regular season, and now you got some extra funding and some trust within that athletic department, and rightfully so. What Fred Hoiberg's been able to do with the less, he's made it work, and now he's going to be able to get a little bit more help and support And that's why I just think this thing's going to keep humming along here, because everything's kind of clicking in the right direction to where you're getting the resources you need. You kind of caught the attention of the nation this year. Go beat Troy, right? That's very important. But if you take care of that, you broke all these metrics, not 5 seed. I think that was the best Nebraska's ever done. You get the most wins in the Big Ten regular season that this program's ever done. Like, you checked off so many boxes, and now you're getting support behind it for doing so. And again, that's why I just think it's finally turning a corner. And how much separation will there be between Nebraska and Creighton? I don't know. Maybe Creighton really beefs up what their operations are and sees the competitiveness that Nebraska's bringing and maybe reevaluates a few things, or just gets back on track next year with some good recruiting. But all that being said, it's not going to stop Nebraska from what I think its current trajectory is, which is, I'm not going to say, go win a title next year within the next 3 years, but becoming more of a March Madness appearance and a team in there that's no longer just hoping to get a win, but how much chaos can create in March this year and how high of a seed can we obtain? I mean, we're kind of resetting the standards, and you and me saw live this year. I mean, I think it was like third last in the Big Ten was the projections. Nobody had a whole lot of hype or interest in this team. And then 3/4 of the way through the season, when this team was kind of struggling, the comments were like, we expect this team to be just a world beater, and we shouldn't accept any of these tough losses. And there was some merit to some of the arguments, but in real time, we saw the expectations of this Nebraska basketball program change, and that's a good thing. I mean, it shows that people expect better because they've shown it. But I mean, there's so many signs to me that just says a lot of positive things are coming our way.
Absolutely. And I think that I'm going to jump off on that March Madness point really quick, and then text line, we'll get back to that because there's some good stuff there. I think the best way I can say this is because of how fun the Casey run was, and because of the way Nebraska started this year off, reaching, number 5 in the AP poll, like you said, highest ranking in school history. I kind of think we let last year's team off the hook for being so close to being an NCAA tournament team. It probably would have been an 8, maybe a 9 seed, depending on how the rest of the schedule shook out. But don't forget, Nebraska went out and they had that road win over Creighton, which was a heck of a bounce back less than a week after losing the tough one to St. Mary's. They come back, they go to Omaha, they beat Creighton. Okay, they go get smacked at Michigan State about a week and a half later, come back, they beat Indiana at home, have a week and change off before they go out to Hawaii and win the Diamond Head Classic. They beat Southern to wrap up the non-con, and then they beat number 15 UCLA at home. That team was 12-2 with a pair of top 15 wins and a multi-team event win under its belt. Okay, then you have the 5-game losing streak. Overtime to Iowa, the price stand for a double dribble, no double dribble game. Go on the road, get blasted by Purdue. Drop one to Rutgers that you just didn't have the horses to hang late in that one. Go on the road, lose tight to Maryland, and then drop not an inexcusable game, not a great game at home to a USC team that was certainly ripe for the picking, and then get blasted by Wisconsin. So from 12-2 to 12-7. Okay, but then Nebraska bounces back with a home win over number 18, Illinois. Nebraska then goes on the road 2 days later, or with 2 days of break, I should say. So from a Thursday win over Illinois to a Sunday road win at number 16, Oregon, and then a road win at Washington. Nebraska at that point, and then add in the home win over Ohio State, who was, bubbly like always last year. Nebraska men's basketball was sitting at 16-8 with, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked wins and that MTE under its belt. Then you lose a tough one to Maryland at home. You beat Wisconsin or Northwestern. You go out, you play horribly at Penn State. You let a game slip through your fingers against another top 15 opponent in Michigan in Pinnacle Bank Arena. And that was a 4 seed or a 5 seed last year in Michigan. So they were favored coming in, but you knocked off teams of that caliber earlier in the year. And then you lose to Minnesota at home on a buzzer beater. You can't put Ohio State away on the road. And then Iowa blows you out on senior day. And Juwan Gary is hugging Iowa players at home. And you miss the Big Ten tournament with that on the line. When you think about the consistency, this team is probably flip 3 of those games. Let's say even flip the bottom games. Let's say that Nebraska beats Penn State on the road. Let's say they beat Minnesota at home. And let's say I don't know, like split with Iowa, right? Let's say you get revenge for them. Then instead of sitting at 17 and 14 in the regular season, Nebraska's sitting at 20 and 11 with 4 ranked wins, a pretty good strength of schedule. That team is in the dance, almost assuredly. Probably have not much work to do in the Big Ten tournament, but the 6-game losing streak in the 5-game losing streak where that team couldn't turn it around, in personnel, coaching, whatever. We talked about it a lot last year, but we were this close, inches away from having Nebraska in 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments on the men's side, which had been since the 90s since that happened. And so, yes, Nebraska goes and wins the crown. Yes, it's looked at as a springboard for this year, but I think that, Nebraska's already in that conversation. They blew it last year in a lot of ways, sure, dealing with injuries, sure, personnel questions. Nebraska had every opportunity, didn't come through, which makes it to me even more impressive that this year's team did come through in starting 20-0 and essentially holding serve the rest of the way to earn, a protected seat in the tournament.
100%. You took my next point right out of my mouth. It's, at the end of that college basketball crown, as great as we all felt, it was pretty quickly after a few weeks in, and we're sitting there like, man, what is next year going to look like? We're losing Juwan Gary, we're losing Bryce Williams, and you talk about those big time wins that Nebraska had. Williams had his name across those games, the majority of them. I mean, he was such a crucial guy, and so much of our offense was around Bryce Williams. Not that he was like, I'm an ISO, give me the ball and I'm going to go to work. It was, hey, we're running our offense, Mr. Williams, it's not working out. Can you bail us out right here? And he often would. He was so good at bailing Nebraska out in a lot of those games that we would come out with some of those wins. But when you realize you're losing him and then you're losing, what was the glue guy in Juwan Gary, and certainly defensively what he was able to do and provide that physicality. And then, with the big men, you were kind of feeling like there's a hole there. There was a lot of questions. As great as some of those runs were, and disappointing stretch where you lose 5 straight, but there was some signs, but a lot of those signs that were giving you a ton of hope, again, they're Bryce Williams with that offense, and you're losing some of those pieces. So again, I think it's miraculous that, there was no panic. It was just kind of right back to work. We didn't see drastic differences on how this team operates. Really since they've really locked in on defense, it hasn't seen drastic changes since like early on Fred Hoiberg. Like this team's found an identity and they doubled down on it this year, and it's paid out in huge dividends. So again, that's why I just keep going back to the consistency. And I think, we're in for a good ride. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but right now it's pretty good.
No, it's been really good. And I think that if there was going to be a year for stylistic adjustments, it would have been last year. But Fred Hoiberg didn't push the panic button, right? It was a lot of the same looks, a lot of the same actions, maybe just not the right personnel. But so be it. Okay, let's pause here because there's a lot of interesting stuff here on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line, 1508. And Bo Lever, want to get back to you guys, especially with some other funny kind of Creighton text on the text line as well. But Nebraska men's basketball less than a day away from tipping off in the NCAA tournament. Huskers and Troy from down here in Oklahoma City. Graham Tire is the sponsor of Old School. We'll be right back to the show after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Spring storms happen, but LES line workers are ready. While they're out in the weather, you can stay inside and still lend a hand by reporting your outage at les.com/report.
Take your operation to the next level. Right now at Landmark Implement, take advantage of special financing on model year 2019 through 2025 John Deere tractors, sprayers, and combines. Take advantage of a 12-month fixed interest waiver, followed by John Deere Financial standard rates, or choose from multiple split rate offers with approved credit. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or visit us online at landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
Hey fellas, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, so here's your friendly reminder that ignoring your gut isn't a strategy on the field or in real life. Once you hit 45, screening isn't optional anymore. It can literally save your life. Advanced medical imaging makes it easy with fast, comfortable CT colonography. No hospital hoops, no all-day ordeal. Just a simple scan that helps you stay ahead of the game. Talk to your doctor about getting your screening ordered at AMI and keep yourself in the lineup for the long run.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally...
What?
You know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We have an incredible day on tap here around the Lincoln area. We'll get up to 73 for a high temperature, plenty of sunshine, just a couple of high thin clouds and a light westerly wind. Tonight, partly cloudy, 43 for your low, and then 78 sunny tomorrow, and then sunny and low 80s on Friday. I'm meteorologist Aaron Downer for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Orman coming at you from OKC. Harrison Arns holding things down at the mothership. And we do want to hear from you all show long. 402-464-5685. Unmasked Texter. Appreciate you texting in here. We'll get the lighthearted text out of the way first. Dawn asks, does Nebraska want Creighton to win the crown to keep it in the state of Nebraska? No. I am not a conference rooter. I am not an in-state rooter. It would be a funny quirk if it happened, but I am more along the lines, Harrison, of what Mr. Mikey D says. I want Creighton to lose, period, at everything. Maybe the one exception is when the Creighton women's basketball team went on the road and knocked off Caitlin Clark in Iowa. That was just kind of funny. No one really saw that coming with how good that Iowa team was at the start of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. I think those two teams have played in men's basketball. And in fact, Iowa and Creighton have teamed up to try to build a super team to beat Nebraska. Guys that were at Iowa, then transferred over to Creighton, see how far it got them this year. But no, I am not an in-state rooter. I am not an in-conference rooter. I am a root for your team and root against your rivals guy.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. If you were an in-state guy, you'd root for Creighton and Nebraska. Instead, you root for Nebraska and Duke. Had to throw that jab at you, as always, as your one-seeded Blue Devils, I think, are the number one picked currently for March Madness bracket.
Yeah, and that's scary.
It usually is. You usually don't. I usually will adjust my champion if I see I have the most picked champion. So I feel the nervousness there. But yeah, when it comes to that, Creighton, do what you want. I'm not going to care whether you hoist a trophy. If you bring it back to Nebraska, cool. I'm not going to go see it. We got our own. So that's kind of how I feel on it.
I'm not going to root for Creighton to do it if they do. Oh, congratulations, little brother. You got there too. But how about that? Nebraska basketball beat you to something. So enjoy playing catch up. MT Westy, shout out Creighton football. Yep, an oldie but a goodie. Absolutely. Okay. Specifically on Nebraska, Bo Lever says, I've watched more basketball this year than I ever have. He doesn't necessarily attribute it to Nebraska men's basketball. So, Bo Lever, let us know if you're watching more Nebraska or more basketball in general. But Harrison, we've gotten that text so many times specifically regarding Nebraska basketball. And, I think it's one of those things that can get brought up as they're just saying that. Well, I mean, it's Fairweather Husker fans. Are they really the best? Why aren't they watching the whole time? Well, it's one of those things I go back and forth on too. If you're a fan, watch the games. But also you only have so much time. You only have so many resources. And just because Nebraska has a program that's out there playing a sport, just because it's on television, doesn't mean that getting ratings, getting support is a birthright. The fact that Pinnacle Bank Arena still had the attendance that it did, the fact that Nebraska basketball still drew some of the television numbers that it did despite the lack of success, I think is a testament to the Nebraska fan base. And even if I would tell people they've missed out on some really fun stories, some really interesting teams, some darn good players, even if the results haven't necessarily been there, we've heard it time and time again. And I've heard it too much to deny that this team has struck a nerve in the right way, right? It's been a great entry point. It's been such a low bar for entry that, hop on board. I don't think Husker fans would begrudge any fellow Husker fans a seat on the bandwagon because everyone loves Sam. Everyone loves Price. Everyone loves Rink. And you can go on and on down the list. So many good stories, more success than ever. And even if, I hope people continue to watch this basketball program just because I think Fred Hoiberg's a good dude, a really good coach. Whether or not they win 20 games a year for the rest of eternity, we'll see. But the fact that this Nebraska men's basketball team captured the attention of so many first-time basketball fans or casual basketball fans is a testament to that program and to those young men inside those walls for the job they've done that reflects this year, but all the work that's gone in behind the scenes to build to this point.
Absolutely. It's such an easy team to root for, as you mentioned, with guys like Sam Hoiberg and then Jamarcus Lawrence, the fact that he was Here left, and now he's back. Like, everyone embraced him with open arms. It was clearly, even when he left on a really good note. And then the guys prior, I mean, we saw it when what game was it? We had over, I want to say it was an insane amount of alumni coaches that we had show up for Nebraska. I'm forgetting which ranked opponent that we were playing that night, but we saw it when they had all those alumni out there, and it was an insane number, 75.
Well, Northwestern would have been Alumni Day.
Okay, so that's what it would have been. Northwestern. Yes, you're right. It was Northwestern, and the Huskers got the win that day. But you kind of saw there, like, the fanfare and how excited people were, and you can totally open up the bandwagon. I mean, it's a program and it's Husker land. There's a million Husker land activities going on. Like, personally, I got accepted a ticket to the Husker wrestling bandwagon. I was missing an incredible show that was with Mark Manning, which, by the way, first full lineup heading to the NCAA Wrestling Championships since 2019-20 season. And you're seeing it with their attendance records that they broke a few times this year. The best thing about Nebraska fans is that if you are winning and you are putting on a good show, Husker fans have a way of showing up to those who are putting in the work, and those are putting good results on the floor. I mean, it's just, you see it with Huskers. If someone starts winning, the Huskers fans start sniffing around, and that's a good thing. I mean, if you're going to go out there and win, there's some universities that still won't draw the fans out, which is crazy to say. But here at Nebraska, it doesn't really seem to matter what it is. We saw it with soccer as well. When Eleanor Dale was the leading goal scorer in the country, all of a sudden, even the sit down, you're seeing people pull up to soccer games. It is one of the best traits about Nebraska fans is we celebrate winners. And I think that's why you're seeing it this year. So, yeah, welcome aboard. And like I said, I think there's a lot of optimism down the road. So go ahead and get comfortable. I think this wagon's going to be rolling for a while.
Let's get then to 1508 on the text line. He says, part of Creighton's success has had to have been from Nebraska being so bad for so long. I mean, maybe, but I think we have an example to the contrary, and it's in volleyball. I get that there are more teams playing Division I basketball than volleyball. I get that basketball's been more popular than volleyball for a while. But, Creighton was also has been a very good program in its own right at the Big East level, despite Nebraska operating as a top 5 team in the country, almost exclusively. Right. I mean, think about everything that's gone on for Nebraska between the stadium sellout, the undefeated regular season, the Final Four appearances, obviously, bowing out earlier in the Elite Eight this year to Texas A&M. But I mean, the Nebraska volleyball is the standard, right? Maybe you can throw Texas in there, but I think Nebraska has pretty clearly surpassed where like Stanford and Penn State were back in the late 2000s into the early 2010s. Nebraska volleyball is the measuring stick. And fortunately for Nebraska, credit to that program, they've still never lost to Little Sister. Little Sister still has never made it farther than Big Sister has in the NCAA tournament. But Nebraska winning the Big 12 and Nebraska winning the Big 10 and Nebraska being, ranked number 1 for as long as they've been did not stop Creighton from also being good, from carving out its own niche, right? And to apply that then to basketball, maybe Creighton was always going to get the relative to level, the 1A type of players, right, that Nebraska volleyball would get. Maybe that's going to be the case because more tradition, more history, more established, head coach before the last few years. But there was nothing at all, and I mean nothing at all, stopping Nebraska from finding that quote unquote second tier local talent, from finding those diamonds in the rough and developing them into its own version of a good program, right? Maybe Nebraska wouldn't have matched with having a Doug McDermott back in the day, right? Maybe Nebraska wouldn't have made a Sweet 16 or whatever and, be one game away from, or maybe an Elite Eight, I think, for Creighton. They lose to San Diego State, I think, with a chance to go to the Final Four. Maybe that doesn't happen with Nebraska men's basketball. But was that the standard? No, the standard was be better. The standard was there's no reason to be this bad, right? So I am not going to accept that Creighton being so good or Nebraska being so bad is what made Creighton so good, because there was either plenty of local talent around, there were plenty of other avenues for Nebraska coaches to mine for talent, to try to find advantages, and they couldn't do it. And then we can apply this in the Big Ten too. How did Northwestern get an NCAA tournament win before Nebraska? How come Minnesota, can be a top 15 program in the country in the early mid 2000s? How come Wisconsin can do it? How come Iowa can do it? How come Illinois can do it, right? Maybe even Indiana, right? I get it, in 49 states, it's just basketball, whatever. But there are a lot of programs in similar-ish, big picture positions to Nebraska that there was no reason for Nebraska basketball to be that bad for that long, right? Husker basketball being that bad might have helped Creighton, but it doesn't excuse how bad and how stuck in the mud really this Nebraska men's basketball program was despite Creighton's success.
Yeah, 100%. And if you go down back to 2013 when the vault was built, I think there was clearly signs there that they expected that this wagon would have been rolling a little bit sooner. I don't think you put in the vault to go lose a bunch of basketball games in a very, very nice, expensive, arguably one of the better arenas in the Big Ten. So it absolutely was there that, listen, I don't think the athletic department was ever okay with Nebraska losing. I think they've put in some more faith and some more ammunition, whatever you want to say, behind them, because now they've done more, with less. And that's a lot considering they still have great facilities. They're not like at the bottom tier as far as NIL goes, I don't think, in the Big Ten, but they're definitely not near the top. But I think you go back. The vault being constructed was, I think, a pretty clear indicator that they wanted more. And even the athletic department within, I don't think was okay with those excuses of saying, well, we get it. Creighton's taken all the best talent. It's okay. We'll give you this nice new, brand new vault anyways, because we expect to fire a coach here soon and lose a bunch of ball games.
Well, I don't know if we'll ever get a straight answer here, but I do wonder, too, how much of this turnaround in Nebraska men's basketball has been motivated obviously Fred Hoiberg, right? Quiet guy, softer spoken guy. Don't mistake that for a lack of intensity. There's nothing Fred Hoiberg wanted more desperately than to win. He was so incredibly frustrated. He didn't fully wrap his head around the struggles, and then you credit him for adjusting. But I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this, but I wonder if there was more focus put on men's basketball because of the success or lack of success for football, or if men's basketball was allowed to slide as long as it was because of the focus on football, right? From some administration and even behind the scenes with boosters and with fans, right? Was Nebraska basketball something that you went to because you wanted to be there, or was it, a throw-in with your football tickets? Or, well, football tickets are too expensive. We can get basketball season tickets, and there's not enough volleyball season tickets. So I guess we'll get basketball. It's not my favorite, but it's something to do. We'll go, 7-8 times a year. Maybe we go to all the home games. I don't know, but it is what it is. I would love to know the real nitty gritty behind the scenes conversations of how much of the turnaround in intensity, urgency, and focus started with Fred Hoiberg, figuring it out, and then he opened the athletic department's eyes, versus were there people behind the scenes that helped get it to that point, right? Because I don't think that Fred Hoiberg ever for a second needed the kick in the pants. I don't think he ever needed the fire lit under his, seat. I don't think that was ever the case. But Fred Hoiberg certainly needed assistance, right? He couldn't do it on his own. He had to make some changes. I won't even say compromises, but he had to make some adjustments, and he needed some support from behind the scenes too. And I wonder how much of that started with Fred Hoiberg, or if Fred Hoiberg finally got that support and maximized it. Not that we'll ever know.
Yeah, that's always maybe Troy Dannon will write a book. Put out this second edition. I think that's kind of what we're waiting for to figure out what's happening on the inside these days.
Man, imagine we'd have content for weeks. We can compare page by page the Moose memoir to the Dannon docuseries. We'll go to break. We'll wrap up hour 2 of Old School after this, but hour 3, I'll tell you what I saw and I heard in Oklahoma City from inside the open locker room and at shoot around. He's Harrison Arns. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good morning, Breakers. This is Scott Miller from Midwest Bank. When I recently joined Midwest Bank, I was immediately impressed by our exceptional service. My first customer made the switch from a large corporate bank and didn't have to wait in line or call a 1-800 number. We treated him like family. He now visits the bank just to say hello. While other banks go corporate, we stay Nebraska. Visit us at midwest.bank or drop by a branch today. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
Wake up, Lincoln. You're not dreaming. Schaefer Sleep Gallery has closeout mattresses up to 50% off. Hurry in now for the best selection and savings on Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland closeouts. We're talking one-of-a-kinds, floor models, and closeouts up to 50% off. Plus, Schaefer Sleep Gallery has free local delivery on any closeout Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland mattress while they last. So hurry in to save hundreds. Plus, free local delivery on closeout mattresses in the Sleep Gallery at Schaefer's. 48th and R, Lincoln.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. The stretch run is here. On March 18th, Love Nebraska hosts Love Atlanta at Baxter Arena with first serve set for 7 p.m., and every set carries postseason implications. 2 explosive teams meet on one court, trading quick transition, heavy swings, and defensive plays that can shift the match in seconds. Playoff implications on the line as the season winds down. Don't just track the score, feel every rally live. Secure your seats at lovebneb.com/tickets.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We have an incredible day on tap here around the Lincoln area. We'll get up to 73 for a high temperature, plenty of sunshine, just a couple of high thin clouds and a light westerly wind. Tonight, partly cloudy, 43 for your low, and then 78 sunny tomorrow, and then sunny and low 80s on Friday. I'm meteorologist Aaron Downer for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Coppell. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at coppellcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G1739777 with approved credit.
Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Early Break is hitting the road to the NCAA tournament in Oklahoma City. Join me, Jake Sorensen, Steve Sipple, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 a.m. in the outdoor patio area of the Courtyard Marriott in downtown OKC on both Thursday and Friday. Come down and hang out to start the day before Nebraska plays Troy on Thursday, and then join us on the off day on Friday as well. Early Break's trip to OKC is made possible by Sandhills Careers, who is growing in Lincoln. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Short one here, wrapping up hour 2 of Old School. Austin Orman and Harrison Ahrens with you. For some reason, my video is frozen. Hopefully, you can still hear me all right.
Yeah, we can hear you. A little awkward for maybe the viewers. They might be frightened by the stance that you're taking on the frozen screen, but we can hear you.
Well, let's just stop the old camera, but I should still be here with audio only. We'll give it a second to see if we're back, maybe.
It's all
right.
right.
We'll figure it out during break. Anyways, Starter Haven Jewelers text line 0159. You guys are talking about Creighton, but what about UNO? Are they the stepsister? Okay, loaded question, loaded answer. I am fully on record as calling North Carolina State the redheaded stepchild of Tobacco Road. Like, I know they have, Lorenzo Charles and all that, like Skywalker and all the history that they have over there. But they're red. Duke and Carolina are different shades of blue. Even Wake Forest is around there as well. So I'm fully on board with pushing the North Carolina State as the stepsister. But I will say this about UNO. No, they're just the cool little sister, right? I mean, Creighton's the black sheep of the family at this point, right? UNO is at least in the Nebraska system. They're red. And, sure, the baseball team popped up and got Nebraska more than its fair share of times. But no, UNO's cool. Maybe that's some of my own bias coming out here. I have some connections up there to that program. We had their head basketball coach, Chris Crutchfield, on the show when Strick was around a couple times. Really like Crutch, got to meet him up in Omaha a couple times in a previous life as well. Shout out as well to the Omaha hockey head coach, dude by the name of Mike Gabinet. And my former co-host up there in Omaha, he and I still text about this guy sometime. I think he's still the head coach. But this dude, Mike Gabinet, was a hockey player in Canada, but he also played some football and took an official visit to Northwestern as a quarterback recruit. Think about that. This dude just up in middle of nowhere, Canada, is playing some like Canadian rules football, and Northwestern's like, hey, come on a visit. We might offer you. He obviously chose to go hockey and has been a pretty darn successful head coach for the Mavs out there. But yeah, shout out Coach Crutch, shout out UNO baseball, shout out UNO softball, shout out my guy Mike Gabinet up there at UNO hockey. But no, UNO I think is the fun sister. We like the little sister. We can have fun with them.
Yeah, Creighton's the middle child that no one cares about. Omaha could be the little brother, and we'll be the big brother. But yeah, Creighton's the middle one. You go do your thing. But rooting for the Mavericks is fun. Last year, obviously, the trash can shenanigans that they were up to, it was fantastic. We all got a kick out of that, and not just here locally, but across the nation. So no, I'm always down rooting for the Mavericks. I was a big fan of their wrestling program until Trev Alberts cut that one too after they won 3 straight champions titles. But and hockey as well. Like, I always root for the Mavericks. I got no ill will towards the Mavericks' success.
And it's not even anti-blue, right? Because we can also root for UNK. Shout out Lopes out there all the way in western Nebraska. No, Kearney is not central Nebraska. Kearney is western Nebraska. I will hear no argument aside from that. And shout out Coach Ryan Held. If you missed an interview that Jay and I did with Coach Held, that was, right around National Signing Day, actually. You can go check that out on the podcast. Just search Old School Ryan Held. I'm sure that'll will pop up for you. We will go to break there. When we get back, the sights and the sounds. What have I seen and heard so far from my one day in Oklahoma City? Really great chance to talk to the players in the locker room. Bumped into Fred Hoiberg for a moment and watched Nebraska's shoot around. I'll tell you about all that and more, Hour 3 of Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Wake up, Lincoln. You're not dreaming. Schaefer Sleep Gallery has closeout mattresses up to 50% off. Hurry in now for the best selection and savings on Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland closeouts. We're talking one-of-a-kinds, floor models, and closeouts up to 50% off. Plus, Schaefer Sleep Gallery has free local delivery on any closeout Serta Beauty Rest and Sutherland mattress while they last. So hurry in to save hundreds, plus free local delivery on closeout mattresses in the Sleep Gallery at Schaefer's. 48th and R, Lincoln.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost, and get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved, because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Copple Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Copple. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at copplecars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G173977 with approved credit.
Spring storms happen, but LES line workers are ready. While they're out in the weather, you can stay inside and still lend a hand by reporting your outage at les.com/report.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Nick Wyman with your sports update. The Nebraska women's basketball team takes the floor this evening for the first four of the 2026 NCAA women's basketball tournament. The Cornhuskers battle Richmond in Durham, North Carolina, with tip-off set for 6 p.m. Central Time. That game between the Cornhuskers and the Spiders can be seen on ESPN2. Husker baseball collected an 8-1 win over Wichita State on Tuesday, which pushed the Cornhuskers' winning streak to 10 games. Case Anderson and Jet Buck combined to drive in 5 runs for the Cornhuskers. After Nebraska wraps up that series with the Shockers today, the Cornhuskers travel to Ann Arbor for a 3-game set against Michigan Wolverines, with Game 1 of that series set for this Friday. Postseason is here for Nebraska wrestling and Husker bowling. The Cornhuskers wrestling team heads to the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Cleveland, Ohio, with the first matches set for Thursday. As for Nebraska bowling, the Huskers are competing at the Conference USA tournament, which began earlier today and wraps up on Sunday. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here at 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time. And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Away we go into hour 3 of Old School. I'm back on camera. I'm not sure if that's good news or bad news. I've always been told I have a face for radio, and now I have a voice for TV. The way this is hitting me, but you know what? We'll get it figured out someday. If you need anything figured out with your car, you can take it into the good folks at Graham Tire Company. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Harrison, what I heard today, we'll start with the open locker room portion of things. That happened from about 11:05 to 11:35 or so. I wasn't in there quite the whole time. I left a little bit before they closed the locker room off for Nebraska to finish prepping for practice so I could get some of my thoughts down, right? It was pretty interesting. They just had all the players sitting around the U-shaped locker room just ready to take questions. And you can about imagine who the swarms and the gaggles were for initially. But when it was all said and done, I did get around to asking a few different players questions. I talked to Cale Jacobson, Rinkmast, and Price Sanford specifically, the ones I got the most time with. And one of the big questions that was on my mind for this Nebraska team, and specifically for Rinkmast, who played a big role in that 23-24 team, the last one to make the tournament, for Cale Jacobson, who was on the team, and Sam was busy, so I didn't get a chance to pick Sam Hoiberg's brain on that. But what Rinkmast and Cale Jacobson both told me and I'd love to know your take on this, is they think it's a very similar emotional environment right now compared to what it was in Memphis. Rink did mention that, yeah, this team is probably a little bit more mature, right? Not necessarily in, off-court ways, right? They have many issues with Nebraska, but they really weren't with that 23-24 team either. But I think just basketball mature, right? And that's been a big selling point for them. They're an older team, even if they're not the biggest. They're experienced, even if they haven't, played that many possessions together as a unit. But I think that there is a little bit of excitement in that locker room to know that they're a favorite. I got a little bit of that from Rink Mass' answer. I don't remember the spread for Nebraska, Texas A&M. It's an 8-9. It's a coin flip anyways. I think A&M was favored going into that game. So Rink Mass did point out, yeah, it's fun to be the favorite, right? To be the higher seed here in this tournament and be able to go in even with that, not on the scoreboard, obviously, but just knowing that, yeah, we earned our way up here this high in the bracket. We're in a pretty good position. Ringmass did mention that he thinks that this team is more mature, maybe a little bit more ready for that moment as a whole. And Cale Jacobson said pretty much the same thing. He said, yeah, I mean, it's been good energy. The team's been energetic all week, and he hasn't sensed any, major ups or major downs. He hasn't sensed, wandering eyes or wandering ears. And I mentioned this at one point in post game. It was probably non-conference, or maybe it was early on in conference play. I think emotional maturity comes out in two ways. Number one is not making something more than it is, right? I know DP will give Coach Manning a lot of credit for that, right? It's just wrestling. It's just basketball. Just go out there and play your game. It's about Nebraska, right? And I think this team has done a pretty incredible, pretty fantastic job of that for the most part, right? Maybe some intermittent issues here and there where, maybe as a team, their confidence is a little lower than I would think, just based off of the results of one game or two games, right? Feeling dejected, being in their feelings a little bit, but they're still 26-6 and a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. The flip side to that, though, is I think a big piece of emotional maturity is also matching what the moment calls for. And I think that this Nebraska team is going to continue operating the same way it has all year, even keel, steady, never too high, never too low, not satisfied, all that stuff that Fred Hoiberg talks about. I do hope, though, that when they wake up tomorrow, and I'm not saying they're not this, but I hope they're especially this when they wake up tomorrow, excited for the chance to make history, because that means something too. And if Nebraska wants to take the business-like approach, so be it. It's what they've done all year. I assume that's what they'll do. But you can be energetic. You can be excited for a special opportunity without, making too much of it. But you also don't want to diminish it to where it's just another game. Because yes, in some ways it is just another game. But I hope that this Nebraska team is mature enough emotionally to tap into whatever those strong emotions they feel are, right? Joy to get one more chance, right? Motivation to prove any haters, doubters, whatever wrong, right? Excitement, right? For a first opportunity or a second crack at it for some of these guys. Passion, fire, drive, motivation, discipline, whatever it is you want to call it, because tomorrow has the chance to be a special moment for Nebraska men's basketball. It's not guaranteed. And I think that, Nebraska will come out and play steady like it has. I don't think we're going to see Nebraska play out of character, get outside of itself. But for as good a job as this team has done in remaining steady, and as Fred Hoiberg said in his presser today, putting up the walls and blocking off the outside noise, I think it's important they recognize they're on the verge of something special. And if they want it that bad, they know the way to do it is to play within themselves, to do what they've been coached to do. But sometimes you can tap into something emotionally that maybe it's in there, maybe you didn't know you could get to it before. But when you just hit that zone, that flow kind of state, I hope for Nebraska's players' sake, they're able to get there and put on a show tomorrow in some ways and really soak in the magnitude of the moment, because it really is setting up to be historic. Maybe not the kind of history that Nebraska wanted to make, but better late than never. If history is made, enjoy it, right? Sure, 24-hour rule, flush it because you have another game then coming up on Saturday. But I think there's more to this game than it's just another game. And I hope that Nebraska and its players can recognize that.
You recognize it, and then to your point, recognize it in the right way. Don't look at it as like, oh man, there's so much more pressure on this game, although there is. But go enjoy the moment. We know all too well about enjoying the moment, and usually guys play pretty well when they're out there and having fun. Our goodwill ambassador to Japan, Keisei Tamanaga, he showed us that more than anybody. I mean, going out there, I'm not saying you have to go the full celebration, and if you make a three, put your hands on your head and do the Keisei Tamanaga reaction. But that was a guy that just loved to play for the big moments. And that's the kind of attitude I want for this Nebraska basketball team is, yeah, there's a little bit more pressure. Yeah, this game does mean more. But that's exciting. That's fun. That's what you want. And that's what Keisei Tamanaga and why he, became such a fan favorite here at Nebraska because, every time, even in that Texas A&M game that we lost, Keisei Tamanaga was hot early. And it was a little bit of back and forth, but he lived and loved playing in those moments. That's what I want to see out of Nebraska. A team that, they recognize that this is a bigger deal, that there is a little bit more added pressure to this game. Obviously, it's the last one if you lose. But at the same time, there is that opportunity to go do something incredibly special. And realistically, if they win this, it's hard to argue against that, them being the best team in Nebraska basketball history. I mean, this is a historic moment. So absolutely go enjoy it. Accept the pressure, but look at it as a positive and really go love putting on a show out there.
Yeah, Fred Hoiberg in his opening statement even brought that up as well. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, in the transcript, he says, I know the first question is going to be Nebraska has never won a tournament game. We realize that. Have I talked to our players about it? No, I haven't. They know. They see it. Is there a pressure that goes along with that? Of course there is. But as I've said to the team, pressure is a privilege. It's what it's all about. To go out there and do the things we've been doing all year. We've prepared the same for this game as we have for every game this season with what we've gone out and tried to accomplish to get ourselves ready to play a really good basketball team. Unbelievably well coached. And that makes sense. I would expect nothing different from Fred Hoiberg. And I think emotion looks different for each guy, right? DeMarcus Lawrence hits a couple threes. He's going to be stone-faced. That's who he is, right? But Rink can go ahead and let out a roar or a big fist pump, right? Sam Hoiberg can do the same, right? He can give a big clap. He can give a floor slap, whatever. Price Sanford can get a big smile and hold his arms out with the three fingers up. Frager can do a little tongue wag, right? He can high step back down the court a little bit. Buchengel can flash that kind of, crap-eating grin at an opponent when he baited him into fouling him and going up through contact or he swatted him or something. Enjoy the little moments in a basketball game. They're there. Fred Hoiberg also mentioned, Nebraska's going to run into some adversity at points tomorrow. There hasn't been a team yet that hasn't faced some level of adversity in a basketball game. But, man, I hope that we see a game that goes well for Nebraska so that we can see Nebraska's players maybe a little bit of a sense of relief. But even Danny Busboom-Kelly said this when she first came in to take over Nebraska volleyball. Winning shouldn't be a relief. Right? It's hard to win a basketball game in college. It's hard to win a volleyball match in college. Winning should feel fun. It should be joyful, right? It's why you play to win. And maybe sometimes you can take winning for granted, right? When you're Nebraska volleyball and you've done it so much. Or you can take winning for granted when you're Nebraska basketball and you've historically done it so little or never on this stage. But I hope this team doesn't take the opportunity for granted. And when those moments to let some personality flash pop up, to not be afraid to do it, because sometimes those are the galvanizing moments and looks for teams.
100%. And it's the thing that makes me feel good about why, they'll have more of that mindset. And of course, everyone's mind's a little bit different how they go about it. But this is an older team, kind of going full circle what we mentioned. And that's, one of the main talking points that I bring up now more than ever when we talk about March, really since COVID era, is how does this team, what's the experience? Is this older guys that have faced adversity, or is this their first time around, even if not as a freshman, but first time in the big dance? Jamarcus Lawrence, I know he talked about it. They asked him, what it was like 2 years ago versus A&M, and he flat out said, the lights were too bright. It just, I'm not verbatim paraphrasing, but it's along those lines of the moment was kind of too big for them, and they kind of got a little, or at least he personally kind of felt like he was just not being as active as he should have been and a little caught off guard, but just how bright the lights were. Those things are important. I don't think it's just a filler talking point. We don't, talk about the NBA playoffs and bring up that point every year. for the exact same reason. Experience matters. It's not a filler point, although I understand why some people may think it is. That's a huge deal. And when you have an older team, which this Nebraska's team certainly has some veteran leaders on it, and not only that, a lot of guys that were there 2 years ago, that's huge. They've been there. They've been to the dance. Obviously not all of them, some of the new members, but for a big part of those groups, for some of the leaders on that team, they're in a position to take another swing at it because they've been there before and they have a little bit of familiarity. So again, that all kind of points for me that I like the current team's mindset. I think they'll be prepared for it. I don't think we'll see a scared Nebraska team going out there thinking, well, what if we lose, as opposed to just going out there and playing the game. I think we'll see the latter of a Husker team who's focused on just winning and just putting all the extra stuff to the side and just relying on that veteran leadership they have in those teams and in those big moments to maybe, bail them out if they run into some of that adversity, or just have that leadership and talk them through it.
Two other things then from the open locker room and then into shoot around, it'll kind of tie in there. I did ask Cale Jacobson what's been the bigger story around the greater Ashland-Greenwood metro area, the Blue Jays C1 title or the prospect of Nebraska being led by Cale Jacobson to its first tournament win. And he said, well, we hope they're both a top story after tomorrow morning and afternoon. And then I did also ask Price Sanford about the basketball. And it's a little thing. And I knew that his answer to some degree was going to be, it doesn't matter. Everyone's playing with the same basketball, whatever. But in you can make fun of me if you want for my Duke fandom here, but this kind of, brought it about was Duke is starting to play those February non-conference games and doing it specifically with the Wilson basketball that's used in the NCAA tournament. I believe the Champions Classic also used that ball, or maybe it was another marquee high-profile non-conference kind of multi-team event. But Duke has gone out of its way to use this basketball because it's the standard, right? There's a lot of people that have said over the last, 2, maybe 3 seasons since they switched to this ball, I think, that it's usually overinflated and it's usually pretty tacky. And it just comes out of a shooter's hand different. And Price is right. I expected him to say that, right? It's the same ball for everyone. What I did think was interesting, though, to that point, is that Nebraska's first opportunity to practice with the Wilson balls came today. They didn't use them in the week leading up. They were still using their Adidas basketballs, even through their walkthrough, whatever they did last night when they got to town. So I think that the first time Nebraska got hands on the NCAA tournament Wilson ball was at shoot around. And, if they shoot it well, hey, they should use it all the time. They shoot it poorly. Oh, it's the basketball. It's the arena. It's the depth perception. And I'm not trying to make something out of nothing. It's just I know that over the last few years, whether it's, I don't know if complaints is the right word, it's been an adjustment, getting used to a new basketball. And for a team like Nebraska that relies so much on shooting, I'm really curious to monitor the shooting stats tomorrow to see how Nebraska's ball handling is as well, just because it's different. Price did confirm when I asked to follow up, it is the same or a similar ball to the one that they used at UCLA, which I know will give a lot of fans pause, but at least that was, not that far in the rear view mirror. Yeah, Troy's playing with the same basketball too, but if Nebraska is missing shots, they won't, blame it in post game. It won't be a talking point, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are some issues with that maybe early on, because it is new, right? These guys haven't used it that much, and it's a new environment on top of that anyways. So it's probably nothing, but for a guy that, is really dialed in from range like Price Sanford, I thought he was the perfect guy to ask that question too, if he had noticed a difference in the feel of the ball, the way it was flying or anything like that. And I got what I expected, but Price at least answered the question straight up too. Yeah, it's the same for everyone. We've used it once, maybe twice. But they haven't had a chance to use it yet, which might be something, might be nothing, but at least there's that information.
Yeah, 100%. While you're talking, I had to look it up because it is somewhat of a real point. I was looking back to when the NBA switched their basketball and remember all the complaints about that.
Well, Steve Nash said it was tearing up his hands at one point.
Yeah, theirs was really bad. I don't know how that. I really don't know how that ball made it through approval with all the problems it had. It was a clear problem for everyone.
It started the downfall of the NBA, clearly.
Well, hey, it was definitely part of it. Another point in Silver's book. But with all that being said, there was a noticeable change. Shooting percentages were down, not drastically, but enough to notice. And then clearly the players weren't having a ton of comfort out there. So I don't think we're going to get, the ball covered in salt. I don't know what the hell was going on with that ball where it's cutting up his hands the way it was. I don't think we're going to get a basketball that bad, but it is somewhat of a thing to point out because it does make a difference. But, you also have the thing where even if it's a ball that's, not great at all, I've had it in my own, driveway when I was growing up, even if it's a little bit flat. If you make that first one, to your point, you're like, oh, this ball's pretty good. I'll keep shooting around with it. So if they get off hot, then hopefully that's not in the back of their head. But, if they have some turnovers where, if the ball's overinflated, wherever it may be, hopefully they don't run into that stuff early because then there's maybe a potential it becomes a problem. But like I said, if they knock down the first few, then it'll just kind of, I think, subside completely. And then it's just ball game. No one's thinking about it.
And whether it's a thing or not for Nebraska, we'll see. But if you want to look smart at home, if Nebraska is shooting either really well or really poorly, you can break out that factoid that, hey, different basketball. So there you go. That's why you listen to the ticket for little nuggets like that. You also take your car to Graham Tire when it's not doing its best. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too, from brakes to oil changes. Trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. He's Harrison. I'm Austin. More Old School after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Good news, LES customers. Even though their lobby at 2620 Fairfield Street closes July 31st, they've still got plenty of convenient ways to support you. Find your best options at les.com.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, salt every fry, squeeze every lemon, and brew every ounce. We do this inside every Raising Cane's, every day. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees.
Are you looking for something
Plus
different?
10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxbeatlincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to Old School. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got Austin Orman streaming in. We did switch over to college basketball on the brick and mortar. So if you're listening to us, congratulations. You found the Ticket app or the streams. And if you got friends, buddies, trying to find it, let them know where it's at. Took away the open there from you, Austin, because I got to turn down the music since we're on Adobe only right now.
I'm not going to lie. It'd been so long since I've done this with someone on stream that I was kind of taken aback. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm on the Adobe pod. Harrison has to fade the music down. It makes perfect sense. So I got there. It did take me a beat to get there mentally, but I did end up there. So
okay, good. I know you get very defensive when people take away the intros. You're very selfish that way. So I had to put that out there before you jumped on me.
It's whose name is there on the opens again, right? Do I need to throw that? I'm kidding. Yeah, first 4 on the airwaves. It will be Prairie View A&M and Lehigh in the first one. And then here's a really interesting one in the second one. Miami of Ohio versus SMU. Obviously, the Redhawks, the story with the undefeated regular season that then led into a quarterfinals defeat at the hands of Frank Martin and the 8th seeded UMass Minutemen. SMU living where Andy Enfield teams really have in the past, which is right there on the bubble, generally in, but very rarely feeling safe. SMU obviously now in the first 4 against Miami of Ohio. I haven't seen an update on one of their better players, BJ Edwards. SMU's kind of been a pain in the butt for the ACC. They were toward the top of the standings there for a while and really faded to the upper part of the middle when Edwards went down. I think just 1-4 in their last 5 or 1-5 in their last 6 without him. Are you rooting for SMU to pull this one out, to put the cute little Miami of Ohio story to bed? Or are you rooting for the Redhawks to pull through and to prove that them being included in the NCAA tournament wasn't a fluke?
Yeah, definitely give me the Redhawks, Miami, Ohio. The whole conversation of those guys potentially being left out infuriated me enough. And I think we've talked about this before where, if Miami, Ohio can't make it, or if they, lose that game for this one coming up here versus SMU, that's going to add to the narrative of everyone who's saying this team wasn't good enough. This is what March Madness is for. So you can get a Miami, Ohio in there that can maybe cause some madness. So no, definitely rooting for Miami, Ohio all the way here. They've been an incredible story, and they're fun to watch. They put up a lot of points. I don't know what their ceiling is. I think they'll definitely, at some point, run into competition. It might be SMU right away, but they're definitely belong. They're a good enough offense that they can give anybody fits if they're having a good night from the shooting.
That's just the thing, and that's the great equalizer in college athletics, which SMU is a fine three-point shooting team. Miami of Ohio has been, above average to really good all year long. And I'm with you on the Redhawks. They're about 8-point dogs tonight, at least as far as I'm seeing right now. But, man, you get them in with a win over SMU, a game under their belts. Tennessee's gettable. I like Tennessee. I don't love Tennessee. I just don't think it's quite the same caliber of Rick Barr teams, even though Nate Ament is playing some better basketball. I'm not going to pick Miami of Ohio to do the, UCLA, NC State, VCU, run from the 11 seed in the first four all the way to the Final Four. But I do think there's at least second weekend potential in the Red Hawks if they're able to get it done tonight.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned it's a 3-point shooting. I mean, that's going to be the thing that really takes them over the top and does SMU, if they do get hot, have enough offense to keep up. I think it's going to be a game where if they win, we're looking at one of those scores where it's in the 80s, maybe even more than that. I think the spread is right around 8. But all that being said, it's March. We see those spreads go right out the window in a lot of these games, so it doesn't really concern me a whole lot there. I do want to ask you a question, though, about these Big Ten teams quickly, because I'm assuming you filled out your bracket already, correct?
Yes, I have some final revisions before they get locked in at 11:15 tomorrow that I at least want to consider. But yes, I filled out 2 brackets so far.
Okay. Am I over-evaluating the Big Ten this year? It's kind of like, does this feel like a good year for the Big Ten? Because as I was going through it, especially teams like Wisconsin getting hot at the right moment, then you look at what UCLA has been doing down the stretch here, and I'm kind of sorting through it. And I was getting to the point where I was at the Elite Eight, and I was looking at my sheet, and I'm like, there's way too much Big Ten going on here. Am I right, or am I maybe over-evaluating the Big Ten play this year? Because typically it's not always the conference that does well when it gets to March.
Who do you have in the Elite Eight, Sweet 16 range? Let me start with that question.
I have to pull it up on my phone quickly, but I know for certain I had Illinois and Purdue. I think I had UCLA making a deep run as well. Maybe I threw Wisconsin in there. Pulling it up right now. Give me like 2 seconds. Round of 32. So in the Elite Eight, UCLA, Purdue, Michigan. So I revised it a little bit, but right now I just have those in there. So the 3 Big Ten teams being UCLA, Purdue, and Michigan.
No, I mean, I think 3 in the Elite Eight would be a pretty darn good showing for the Big Ten. Did you have a UCLA Michigan State matchup in the Sweet 16 to get to the Elite Eight?
Yep, exactly that.
Okay, yeah. I'm not as big a believer in Michigan State. I think they'll make it through the first round fine. I'm not sure about their ceiling in the end of things. I'm just going to go around clockwise then. Ohio State, 2 dang good guards. I like Thornton. I really do. I think that's a tough draw for them going up against Duke, but maybe they're the team that can get hot and have a good enough backcourt to knock the Blue Devils off presumptively in the round of 32. Wisconsin has been playing some dynamic basketball, maybe the best backcourt in the sport, certainly over the course of the last 3 weeks or so. The Nolan Winter thing needs to be kept in mind. And I feel like Wisconsin is due for its turn to where they look like the championship contender, the dark horse, and then, they would go on what would be their skid, except it's one and done time. Now, Purdue, I think, gets a lot of benefit of the doubt due to track record, and they're playing really well right now as well. I forget exactly where I had the Boilers picked. I think I have them. I know I have them making it to the second weekend. I mean, Queens won't get them. I don't think either Missouri or Miami has the firepower. Gonzaga and BYU do. Texas, maybe, probably not against that front court, but Purdue's got potential, but I'm not quite as sold on them. As we scroll down, then we got to go to Illinois and Nebraska and Iowa then in that bottom left quadrant. Iowa, I don't know what the best comp for them would be. It's just so hard for teams that play as slow as they do without like Florida level size to be good consistently. Like Michigan State slows things down in the half court, but they also speed things up in transition, right? And off of makes. Iowa doesn't really do that. And so I think just raw number of possessions doesn't necessarily favor Iowa, 3 games in a row. Once or twice, maybe they can make it work. 3 times feels like it's pushing it for me with the Hawks. Nebraska, we'll see. I think Nebraska has second weekend potential. If the shots are falling, they're comfortable with the ball, get a good matchup. Maybe it's there. To me, the real wild card is Illinois. because Wagler's been a little quiet for his standards recently. Maybe some of that's due to Boswell being back. Maybe there's some Ewing theory going on there with, you lose a good player, you elevate other people into that role. Things just make sense and click a little bit more. Illinois is not better without Kylan Boswell. They might just make more sense, right? Especially on the offensive end. But for being such a tall team, for being so good at getting offensive rebounds, you might be able to punk Illinois a little bit, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're not tough. I'm not saying they don't have an edge, but for as big as they are, they don't really force that many turnovers defensively. They're not really in your face on the perimeter. You can shoot over top of them. Boswell's a good defender, but you can body Wagler, you can body Davis, you can get around Hummerkaus, and, Merkovich is fine, not the fleetest of foot. Stojakovic's defense second behind his offense. When everything's clicking for Illinois, I mean, they very well could be, a third weekend team. They could be a Final Four team, and I'm sure they're a relatively trendy pick. But I could also see them not quite being ready for the moment against the battle-tested Houston team. I could see, North Carolina, if they win their first game, being able to give Illinois some fits with Henry Visar potentially. But I think Illinois is relatively safe this first weekend. I think they're in a pretty good spot. But whether it's Houston, whether it's, St. Mary's really trying to slow things down the way that they'll attack the glass, or Texas A&M that's playing buckyball with a bunch of threes. We've already seen that strategy beat Illinois. Obviously, Michigan, right? I mean, Michigan looking as dominant as they have, I probably glossed over them too quickly. Michigan feels like the best hope. Maybe this is a January, February Izzo run out of Michigan State, out of a friggin' loaded East bracket. Maybe Illinois puts it all back together again. Maybe Wisconsin defies the odds really and makes the Final Four. It seems like you could talk yourself into a bunch more teams making it to the Final Four this year. But as long as Big Ten got 9 teams in it, if you can get 4 or 5 to the Sweet 16, shoot, if you can get 6 teams to the Sweet 16, that's a huge accomplishment. If you only get 4, that's really still not too bad, all things considered. I don't know what the expected number of games is for the Big Ten in terms of the wins from some of these sites that do that sort of thing. But I wouldn't talk myself into 9 Big Ten teams in the Sweet 16. 6 feels a little rich for my blood. But I think 6 is probably the target number for the Big Ten. Like, oh yeah, that was a really good year. And if you get 4 or 5, okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
7. It was Sweet 16 of the Big Ten team, so maybe I have to reevaluate a little bit.
I know we had. I'm thinking we had a year recently with the ACC. I think we had the Miami run, the Clemson Alabama game going on, and then you had Duke and North Carolina State. I think comprised half of the Elite Eight one year, or at least they were all in the Sweet 16. I don't quote me on that. So it's been done before. This is a really good Big Ten conference. It's not going to rate out as historically well as the SEC did last year, although there might have been some hot air being pumped into some of that, especially with the NCAA tournament berths. I still think I would take the Big 12 at full strength over the Big 10 right now, but maybe that's more of a coin flip than I'm giving it credit for, and I'm just hating on the neighborhood. Either way, I think your general point stands is that if there were a year that the Big Ten would break through, not just back to the Final Four, but break through and win the first natty since Mateen Cleaves and Tom Izzo did it for Michigan State, I can agree that this feels like it's the Big Ten's best chance, probably since. I mean, I know Michigan's played for the
tank era.
Well, I'm thinking 2014-15 Wisconsin is probably the one, right? Because I know Michigan State's made a couple Final Four since then, at least one. I know they made it in 18-19. That Michigan Final Four where they got beat by 15 by Villanova that just went nuts from 3. That was that 8 seed in the Big Ten tournament Michigan team. Wisconsin made
it's the Frank Kaminsky era with Wisconsin where
they beat Kentucky in the Final Four. Yeah, they play Duke and lose to Duke for a second time that season then in the the national championship. But I mean, I think some of those Cassius Winston Michigan State teams had a chance and could never quite get it done. You think back to like Purdue and Zach Edey, but I mean, UConn just toyed with that Purdue team in that national championship. I know there was some buzz even around the Carson Edwards team that lost to Virginia in that Elite Eight for a chance to go to the Final Four on that crazy play into the backcourt, the Kyle Guy thing. I think it was against Auburn, and then there's a Diakite against Purdue that saved it or hit the jumper or whatnot. So, I mean, the Big Ten's had teams here and there, but I don't think the Big Ten has had this many teams that you can talk yourself into in ages.
Yeah, and I might not be done with my bracket either. As the more we talk about it, the more anxious I get. I got to figure out where I land. Is this the year for the Big Ten or not? Because, again, when I look at my Sweet 16 and I see 7 Big Ten teams, I'd be lying if I didn't get a little anxious over that one. So I'm still trying to figure out which one of the two it is. Although, if it is the Big Ten's year, this certainly feels like it has a much better chance to be than in years prior. As we mentioned, going back to some of those previous examples, there's not just, one or two teams. There's a few teams we can talk ourselves into taking home the trophy.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a safe bracket, but at Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Schwezo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work in a team that has your back on and off the job site. You can apply today at schwezo.com, schwisow.com. 40 years strong in business, Schwezo Construction. Short one to wrap up Old School. We'll talk some Nebraska women's basketball. They're getting set to take on Richmond in the first 4 out there in Durham, North Carolina. We'll preview that game after this.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Going 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with the lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA TG professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
At Planet Fitness, we're getting strong for the season's biggest games. Join now and your first month is free. Whether you're chasing a buzzer beater or your everyday goals, we've got next level amenities like red light recovery and hydro massage to help you rebound and recover. Plus, with the PF Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and access over 2,800 locations. Join now for $1 down, $24.99 a month, and get your first month free. No commitment. Deal ends Friday, March 13th. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Hey fellas, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. So here's your friendly reminder that ignoring your gut isn't a strategy on the field or in real life. Once you hit 45, screening isn't optional anymore. It can literally save your life. Advanced medical imaging makes it easy with fast, comfortable CT colonography. No hospital hoops, no all-day ordeal. Just a simple scan that helps you stay ahead of the game. Talk to your doctor about getting your screening ordered at AMI and keep yourself in the lineup for the long run.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
This is Grant Wister. I spent a lot of years trusting teammates to do their job so I could do mine. That's the same thing I wanted to build with Champ Roofing, a group you can just trust to handle it. Roof damage, siding, gutters, inspections, and repairs, we cover it all. Headquartered in Lincoln, but serving the whole state. Champ Roofing is your choice for premium roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in, Old School, wrapping things up here. Only got a few minutes left. Austin Orman persevered through the cold. Screw the pitch count. He's filling all the way to the end here. You guys are always welcome to join in. Any last-second comments, 402-464-5685. But let's talk some women's basketball as they got Richmond coming up.
Well, first of all, let's not let my normal co-host off the hook here, right? We're going to put it out here on air that I'm a bigger man than him. You know, he leaves early, I have to leave. I have something come up. I've been up since 3 a.m, and here I still am. So, Jay Foreman, take that. Lucky you're my guy, but I think we proved today, who the bigger man is in the Old School pecking order. I will also say before we get to women's basketball, Harrison, I do have to pour one out for my childhood as T.Y. Hilton officially retired. Just posted his retirement note within the last couple of hours. So whatever, rose-colored nostalgic glasses I had for the Andrew Luck T.Y. Hilton Colts are now completely shattered, stepped on, and broken. But to the business at hand, your point, Richmond and Nebraska. How big a game is this for Nebraska? I know it's quote-unquote just a first 4 game. Does it feel like this game has more importance than just a first 4 game to you?
For me, 100%. It's a chance to kind of rewrite, I think, the narrative that was, I'm not going to say whether it's true or whether, people were right to think this, but the conversation was going in a direction that wasn't pleasant, to say the very least. If they didn't make the tournament and only got an NIT invite, would that make the seat for Williams get any warmer? Maybe, maybe not. But there was certainly a sense of this team maybe disappointed down the stretch, that they did less than what they were capable of. This gives this team an opportunity to just kind of rewrite the end point of the season. You go beat Richmond, fantastic. You turn into 2 wins, and then all of a sudden I think the momentum that this team and Amy Williams have been gathering for a while now, making multiple appearances, winning some tournament games, you can kind of grab that all back and say, listen, yeah, we maybe the ship got a little bit left by 10 degrees here, but we turned it right back in track. We'll have to recalibrate during the offseason, but we're not way off the goal, despite was maybe a tough stretch versus some of those tougher teams in the Big Ten. So I think it's a big deal just to give this team the kind of confidence back not only for recruiting purposes, but the brand as well. And again, have the mindset that Nebraska is still in that right trajectory, even though it had a little bit of stumble kind of late in the year.
Well, there's a certified recruiting class coming in, and so I think being able to keep those players by showing them postseason success would absolutely go a long way. Harrison, the last time Nebraska women's basketball didn't just play 2 games, but won 2 games in the NCAA tournament was in the 2013 NCAA tournament. They beat Chattanooga and Texas A&M when they were seeded number 6 in the Norfolk region, I suppose it would be since it was out in Virginia. But then lost to number 2 seed Duke in the Sweet 16 there. Other than that, it's been either one and done or two and done. The very next year in 13-14, Nebraska gets a 4 in Lincoln. They beat Fresno, get upset by 4 by number 12 seed BYU. Next year, they lose in the first round in 14-15. No postseason or WNIT in 15-16. 16-17, Amy Williams' first year, no postseason. They make it. Then in Amy's second year, lose by 11 in a 7-10 matchup. Nebraska was the 10 there. And then it's been that same sort of continuation, WNIT or 1 or 2 and done. I mean, Nebraska lost in the first round in Wichita against Gonzaga back in the 22 tournament. In 22-23, I believe that was the WNIT year. And then last year, they beat A&M, hold on to beat A&M last year out in Corvallis, or 2 seasons ago now. And then lose to Oregon State in a game that ends up a 10-point margin. Having been there, wasn't really that close. Nebraska hit some shots late. And then last year, they lose another 7-10 to Louisville. So I'm right there with you. It feels like beating Richmond is just kind of on principle what you have to do, right? You're a power conference team. They're not, even though it's much closer to home for Richmond than it is for Nebraska. You just got to find a way to go in this one. And then you hope that you're more in rhythm than your second round opponent would be. And you can win an upset, probably a mild upset there in a 6-11 sort of thing. Do I think it has, full on, college basketball crown potential for the women's team like the men had last year? I don't know if I can go that far, but I'm in lockstep with you. I think this is so much more than just one more game or just a first 4 game for Nebraska women's basketball. Feels like this could be a potential tone setter or mini springboard to next year and beyond.
100%. And, when you got players like Britt Prince around, and obviously didn't have Potts all year, but Hargrove stepped up a big way. Like, you want to keep that coalition together and trusting in the program that, hey, this thing's still going in the right direction. Right there with you. So hopefully we can celebrate a Husker women's basketball win and talk about it right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
That'd be great. Husker women tonight, Husker men tomorrow. I will check in from the hotel, the arena, probably tomorrow morning. Follow the Ticket socials. You see my Twitter handle there as well for some coverage. And then post-game, 2 to 4, y'all will be at Wings and Rings, but I will be here in Oklahoma City. But for Harrison Arns, for Nick Wyman, and I suppose for Jay Foreman, I guess, this is Austin Norman. Thanks to Graham Tire for sponsoring Old School. We'll talk again soon.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients.